President Trump are duking it out. I believe Trump has 4 Pennsylvania rallies today, and Biden is going to be here on Sunday campaigning. But like Philip said earlier, he only has a very small turnout with little 6-feet circles, and that's a very good representation of what Joe Biden has to offer for America versus what President Trump has to offer. At President Trump's rallies, you see thousands of people gathering close together. They're happy, they're enjoying their life. But with Joe Biden, you see people sitting in little 6-foot circles. They're all separated from each other. There's very low energy. It's just, you can just tell by his campaign that he would sink America into some kind of recession or depression if he got in office, just by the way his rallies look. It's just, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely want President Trump to be reelected, and it's vital that we do that. And the GOP has turned out, I believe, 7 times more new Republican voters since 2016. So they got over 200,000 more GOP voters, but the Democrats only registered about 30,000 more voters. So they're closing that voter advantage gap, and that's going to be something that's really important to watch leading into the election. What do you think, being on the ground as former Trump campaign?
Well, the one thing that I think the Trump campaign has going for it over the Biden campaign is they've been on the ground since February. There was a very short period of time when we had first learned about the pandemic that they took a break. They continue to keep knocking doors, though. They continue to keep calling voters. They continue to keep doing voter registration events in different crucial counties throughout the United States that are really going to make the difference in this election. The Biden campaign just recently started doing that, just jumped on the bandwagon here of making calls, knocking doors, and registering voters. From my personal opinion, I think they might be too late to the game. They're not going to be able to have the influence that the Republicans did, and they certainly are not going to have enough influence to catch up to the Republicans in this election.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a crazy day on Tuesday. We're just 3 days out, so I'm going to be watching the swing states for sure, because I've been studying up on them, and it looks like President Trump is going to get Wisconsin, he's going to get Michigan, he's going to get North Carolina, he's going to get Pennsylvania, Florida, and the only one I'm not super sure about is Minnesota, but we'll see what happens. They seem pretty blue. They went blue in 2016, so we'll see. But like we said earlier, you guys can support Right Side Broadcasting and help us get to the next, I think there's 14 rallies in the next 48 hours, 72 hours, something like that. So that's a lot of rallies. That's about 4 to 5 rallies every single day up until election day. So we need, Right Side Broadcasting needs help getting to the events. And as you guys know, we're almost 100% viewer funded. So you guys can help support us by donating to the super chats. But again, YouTube takes 30% of that, so you can go directly to our website at www.rsbnetwork.com/donate, or you can mail us a check directly to our address in Auburn, Alabama, which I will read off to you real quick. 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, Auburn, Alabama 36830. So you can find that address again on our website, and yeah, like, just send in your donations. I would love to read them on screen and shout you guys out. So let's see who else we have. Thank you to Invisible Tape 1, MAGA baby. Love that. Oh no, I missed one. It disappeared. Shout out to whoever just donated $10. I missed the super chat. It disappeared too soon on me. But yeah, thank you guys so much for supporting us always. And we love being on the campaign trail. This is I think it's my 7th rally. I've been to Pennsylvania once before. I was up near Hershey. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it was up by Hershey. And today we have beautiful weather. It's sunny. It's about 40 degrees, but it doesn't feel too cold compared to Wisconsin. So, yeah.
Well, as many of you know, we were in La Crosse, Wisconsin not too long ago, and actually I had to fly out of Minnesota because they didn't have any flights, and we were in a rush to get to the Tampa rally. So we had to drive from rural La Crosse, Wisconsin into Minnesota, into the Twin Cities and Grace. Let me tell you, as I was driving through Minnesota, there was Trump signs on almost every property in rural Minnesota. Now, I know that the Twin Cities is what's going to make a big difference in Minnesota, but rural Minnesota is for Trump. The people there love our president. They love what he has done for their community, for their business, for their industry.
The farmers.
Yes, the farmers love President Trump, and there's probably many farmers here today in this more rural part of Pennsylvania, which, like Grace was saying, is just an hour outside of Philadelphia. Again, I don't want to miss our partner, Dismay Coins. They are the epitome of made in America, and they are made by machines here in the USA by American people who deeply love America. They're made with genuine silver and copper, and definitely something that you want to get yourself a hold of so that you can have something memorable from the 2020 election. They are unique and a worthwhile purchase, which, you know what? There's a holiday coming up, Christmas. They make a perfect gift. They come in 20 plus patriotic designs, and 2 new designs come out each month. We at RSBN will be collecting every single coin, and every month leading up to the election, they also make great gifts for any MAGA fan who's in your family for birthdays, you name it. It's a great gift. You can go to www.disme, that's DISME, coins.com to check out the inventory and start your very own collection of Trump coins today. Use code RSBN at checkout for a discount. While you're there, don't forget to join in on the giveaway. It's really easy to do so. Just click the giveaway tab on the left side of the screen, and the more people that enter, the more winners that there will be. That's www.dismecoins.com. You do not want to miss out on this great company.
Thank you so much, Philip. So we have a couple more super chats coming in. Thank you to Hello Buster. I've been with you all since 2016. I normally make my donation on your website because YouTube ripoff. Thank you so much for that. So proud my daughter made her first donation on the RSBN website. Thank you so much. Thanks to Raina31602. You're amazing. Thank you, Raina. All right, we got a couple new members coming in. So excited. Thank you to SPCENC. Oh, Spence 1102. Thank you so much. Yes, just keep them coming in. I'll keep reading them off. It's super fun to interact with you guys since my internet is usually off. Thanks to Michael Saunders. And yeah, so again, so Pennsylvania is worth about 20 electoral votes, and Bucks County is actually one of the original counties started by William Penn. And in this county, I thought it was really interesting. I'm like a history buff, you guys. So this county is where George Washington crossed the Delaware River in the famous overnight crossing on December 26th, where he won basically the Revolutionary War. So that's a really cool thing. They have a little historical site somewhere close to here, and I think it's historically significant for President Trump to visit this county and just connect with America, connect with the roots here, the people who live here and whose family roots are also here. So I think it's very special. And as you guys have been seeing over the last week, there's been a lot of riots in Philadelphia and around the country, New York, Los Angeles, over another police-related shooting. And unfortunately, the chaos is perpetuated by leftists and Democrats, and we really need to restore law and order, and that's what President Trump represents. So unfortunately, I think that it's really sad that there's a lot of people, like young people, who are falling into this trap where they think that rioting and looting somehow brings racial justice or social justice. And it's really unfortunate that they're falling into that trap. But again, I think that this election is going to wake people up and have them come out to vote for President Trump. And there's a lot of new Generation Z voters. I just heard a new statistic that came out. It's like the fastest growing group in America for voters. So I hope that means that there's a lot of new conservative young people out there like me and Philip here. I'm 23, he's 18, and we're out here stumping for Trump. So I cannot wait to vote on Tuesday. We're in my home state of California, where it's blue right now, but I think it has a good chance of turning red soon, but we'll see. We won't talk too much about California because we're in Pennsylvania, but yeah, where can people find you on social media, Philip?
You can find me on Instagram At Philip Torino, it's Philip, Philip with one L. Torino is Tirino. And on Twitter, it's the same exact thing. I've been facing a lot of censorship lately from Jack Dorsey on Twitter. He must not like what I have to say because we're promoting the message of President Trump on my Twitter and all the accomplishments that he has made. Obviously, he doesn't want the people to hear that. So we're fighting hard against that. And how about yourself?
You guys can find me. My name is Grace Saldana. So all my Twitter, my Parler, my Instagram, Facebook, it's at Grace Saldana, GraceSaldanaa. And I also run a separate page. It's called The Republican Girl, where I basically create resources for young women, young conservative women who want to get more involved in the movement, or maybe they already are and they're looking for a community of like-minded women to connect with and continue spreading the word about conservative values to their friends. So it's an educational resource, and it's also an empowerment and inspiration resource. So you guys can find that at The Republican Girl on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, I think it's so important. Education is so important, and I think that's one of the crucial points of this election too. And one thing that President Trump says is that school choice is the civil rights issue of our time. Yeah, so you're in college right now. You go to school in Palm Beach. So what do you think about the atmosphere at your college?
Well, I think that the education system in this country has needed an overhaul for a long period of time. It has easily become overrun by liberals and Democrats who think that they can just push their narrative and influence young students through the school system. Very smart on the Democrats, politically speaking. Back in the day, they got control of it, and ever since then, education has been their issue. Politically speaking, I think this is a massive opportunity for Republicans to regain academia and make it their thing. President Trump has recently installed a plan to put patriotic education back into schools. So really, yes, absolutely. So going back to the original roots of what America was all about, teaching American history in schools the way it should be taught, based on truth, not based on opinion or editorial. So I think there's a huge opportunity for Republicans here to regain control of the academic system in this country and make it what it's truly supposed to be about educating and informing, not about editorializing and opinionating.
100% agree. Very well said. The schools right now are just trying so hard to indoctrinate students and push their version of history, and it's really sad. And we really need to make education unbiased again, make it about education, not indoctrination. We don't need leftist indoctrination camps where they're teaching the 1619 project and things like that, things that are so detrimental to our society. And like Philip was talking about, the 1776 Commission is going to add patriotic education into schools. So I think that's so important to teach kids about why America is such a great country, why so many people want to immigrate here. That gets really lost, I think, in America, where we do have it so good. We're just such a wealthy country that we don't have very many problems, and when you get so comfortable and used to that, you don't realize how great you have it compared to other countries. So I think it's really important that we instill that in children at a young age. So I'm really excited to see what the president's administration has in store for the next 4 years regarding that. And unfortunately, Betsy DeVos has just gotten beaten up over that issue by the left. And it's all these leftist trolls really just hate conservatives. They hate the right. And again, it's just so sad, all the violence that we see going on across the country to Trump supporters and things like that. So and it kind of brings back to like the media, how the media covers it. They won't tell you the real story. They don't want you to know that conservatives are being discriminated against and beaten up and stuff like that. They want to make up nice terms for it, like calling it a mostly peaceful protest and things like that. But we're the real peaceful protest. We promote peace on the right. We don't make up fake narratives. Like at Right Side Broadcasting, we show you the entire crowd. We show you everything that's happening, good and bad. We don't fake anything. So. But as you guys can see in the crowd, I believe there is a person dressed up as George Washington here to mark the historical significance of the Delaware crossing in the Revolutionary War. Where is he at? Do you see him, Will? Yeah, we got eyes on him, sitting in the crowd and got his wig on. It's pretty cool, pretty cool. I like that because, again, education. We need education in this country, and that's what he's representing right now. But let's get into the super chats once again. Thank you to the Asia America Initiative. Go Team Trump 2020. Thank you, RSBN, for your energy and information. You know, the first sign I saw driving into Pennsylvania was actually an Asian Americans for Trump sign, which I thought was really interesting. It was huge. It was a giant billboard. So that was
Philadelphia, no less.
I was in Philadelphia, where all the madness is going on. And you know, it's interesting that this area is pretty much going towards Trump by the numbers, but they have this Democrat governor who is he's such a radical leftist. Yeah, so that guy has been sparring with Trump over the past few days, and the president said, "We're watching you." He sent a message to Tom Wolf and said, "We're watching you because of voter fraud." The possibility of voter fraud here is rampant, and it's rampant in all the swing states, in the blue states, and even the red states. As we saw, there was a Project Veritas expose the other day on this. In San Antonio, this woman was caught on camera by an undercover journalist directly saying that she gets paid that she can bring 5,000 voters in for Joe Biden and for other local Democrats and judges. So that's a really scary thought that this can be happening in typically deeper red states like Texas. So I'm kind of concerned about the kind of impact that voter fraud could have on this election. What do you think about voter fraud?
Well, first let me address the issue of the governors. It is
a builder who left his mark on skylines around the world. A businessman with an extraordinary ability to communicate directly with the American people. A leader who grew tired of politicians, leading our country down a road to ruin. He didn't do it for money or power or fame. He had all that. He did it because of his love for our great country.
And we will make America great again.
Donald J. Trump beat the odds, smashed the establishment, and won the presidency for the American people.
Donald Trump has defeated Hillary Clinton to become president-elect.
Hillary Clinton has called Donald Trump to concede the race.
It has been a stunning night. It has been a historic night.
Washington, D.C., the establishment is terrified, and they should be. They were all of them wrong, making this one of the greatest upsets in American political history.
Immediately upon taking office, President Trump changed things. But change threatened the establishment, and the establishment fought back. Democrat obstruction, phony investigations, the dishonest media. An incredible 92% of stories are negative. No president has seen anything like it. Despite everything they threw at him, President Trump delivered for the American people, and he delivered like never before. Building the strongest economy in American history, 7 million new jobs, the lowest ever unemployment for Black and Hispanic Americans, ending the Biden era of lopsided trade deals that sent our factories overseas, passing the historic USMCA, taking on China, winning the trade war, protecting and strengthening Medicare and Social Security, lowering the cost of insulin, delivering the first real drop in drug prices in 50 years, restoring our military, fixing the VA, bringing our troops home, and taking the world's deadliest terrorists off the battlefield. Soleimani, al-Baghdadi, ISIS, brought to justice. Moving America's embassy to Jerusalem, a new era of strength and solidarity with our ally Israel. Negotiating a historic peace deal between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, securing our border, miles of new border wall being built, illegal immigration dropped to the lowest point in a decade, tackling the coronavirus head-on, banning travel from China, mobilizing government, business, and the American people to manufacture masks, ventilators, and medical supplies, and launching Operation Warp Speed, an unprecedented effort to develop a vaccine to eradicate the coronavirus from the face of the earth in record time. President Trump has accomplished more for the American people in 4 years than any other president in history, and in his second term, he will lead America to even greater heights, draining the swamp, rebuilding the economy, bringing back millions millions of jobs, creating 10 million new jobs in 10 months. New opportunities for all Americans, not just those at the top. Lowering drug costs, expanding access to high-quality health care for every American family, defending America's police, restoring law and order to our cities, stopping illegal immigration and protecting American families, and ending America's reliance on China once and for all, bringing back jobs and factories, making medicine and products in America again. President Trump will rebuild America's infrastructure, renew hope and our entrepreneurial spirit for a new generation, and restore the American dream. It won't be easy, never pretty. The swamp will continue to fight him every step of the way. But under President Trump, our families will thrive. Our incomes will rise. Our communities will be kept safe. Our factories will flourish. Our flag will fly high. Our country will soar. And we will make America great again.
Well, everybody, thank you so much. You just saw that wonderful video that was produced by the Trump campaign, highlighting the achievements of President Trump, the setbacks that we face as a nation, and how President Trump delivered us through those setbacks, kind of making his case to every person who's here and every person who is watching that video why he needs to be reelected for 4 more years, so that he can continue to lead our country to greatness and help make us great again, as he likes to say.
It blows my mind that people like the Democrats on the left can say that the president did a bad COVID response, or that he didn't respond at all, or that he didn't act early enough, or anything like that. It just blows my mind, because the whole reason why we even started shutting states down temporarily, remember 14 days to slow the spread, or 15 days to slow the spread, and the massive effort to get therapeutics out and testing. President Trump had a press conference like every single day for about 2 months or maybe longer about the coronavirus and about our progress and about how we're doing, and Dr. Fauci. Does everybody remember all the press briefings? Because I do. I watch them every day. And I don't understand how people can say that President Trump had a bad effort. And unfortunately, the virus came from China. And just we can't help that some people did unfortunately succumb to the virus. Not every death is President Trump's fault. So in fact, if President Trump didn't have all the press briefings and didn't act like he did, then we would not be where we are today. So it's just another smear campaign, and that's all they do. They just smear against the president, and they make things up, and that's the only defense they have, because they don't have a good platform. And sometimes I'm like, oh, we should kind of feel bad for them, because if they have to go that far to lie to the American people like that, then really, they have a losing platform, and it couldn't be more obvious. So with that, I want to tell you guys about our partner, Dismay Coins. Dismay Coins is the epitome of made in America, because they are made in the USA by machines made here by people who deeply love the country. Coins made with genuine silver and copper are valuable and a unique and worthwhile purchase, which always makes the perfect Christmas presents. Comes in 20 plus patriotic designs and 2 new designs coming every month. And we at RSBN are collecting these coins, and I wish I had some to show you, but I don't have any with me right now. But we're collecting them. We got some. And they also make great stocking stuffers for any of your MAGA friends and family. And Dismay Coins is giving 10% of profits back to conservative causes and organizations, and they are benefits meaningful to you. You can go to www.dismaycoins.com to check out the inventory and start your very own collection of Trump coins today. Use code RSBN at checkout for a discount. And while you're there, don't forget to join the giveaway. It's really easy to do. Just click the giveaway tab on the left side of the screen, and the more people that enter, the more winners there will be. That's www.dismaycoins.com, www.dismaycoins.com. So thank you guys so much for supporting us at Right Side Broadcasting. And as you guys know, we're almost 100% viewer funded, and we have about 14 rallies over the next 3 days to get to. So we need your help to get all our crews there and get make sure that we show you full coverage of the events. And you guys can donate to us on our website, which is www.rsbnetwork.com/donate. We get 100% of the profits that go to there. You can also donate to our super chat, and I would love to read your messages off and shout you guys out. So send those in, and I will make sure that happens. And I think we're about, President Trump should be here in about 1 minute. He's expected to be, but I don't see a motorcade quite yet. He's a little bit late, but that's okay because that gives us more time to talk to you guys, right? So let me check out the super chats real quick. Shout some people out. Thank you to Sustainable Salt Mine. Thank you, RSBN, from the Donald.Win. We must crush the Democrats and restore law and order. New Jersey for Trump. I'm glad to hear New Jersey for Trump because I haven't heard much about New Jersey, and I think it's expected to go blue, but we'll see what happens. Thank you to Eric C. Chinese Americans for Trump 2020. Love that. Thank you to NGA Natan. Thank you to Jay-Z Brigdy from Holland. I'm a refugee from Holland. My parents died in the Iraq War under Obama. Biden, please vote red. Please vote red, guys. Let's re-elect the president. Thank you to Peter Van Son, $50. Thank you so much. And thank you to Defend the USA. Thank you for all your work in helping to re-elect our great president and save the country. That's what we're here to do. We are here to save the country and make sure that it's not taken over by radical left extremists, because that's the last thing we want to happen to America. What's the reason that you love America so much, Philip?
Well, the reason why I love America so much, just checking to make sure there's nothing coming in the sky. The reason why I love America so much is because my family worked so hard to get here. Immigrants from Italy who worked their butts off to get to this country, and they did it the right way, and they became productive members of society when they got to America. They didn't just come here and collect government welfare. They worked, they joined the military, they had families. They kind of created the nuclear family here in the United States. My grandfather fought in World War II. So that is the reason why I love America, because it's so much of what America should be. When President Trump talks about making America great again, that's what I think about. I think about that period of time after World War II where everybody was coming home and they were building houses and families were being made. And that just was really an exceptional time in American history. Yeah, so we are not far right now from Levittown, Pennsylvania, which, a little history lesson, it was built by a man named William Levitt, who was a builder in the war period during World War II. And post-World War II, he wanted to find a cheap, effective way of making houses that were affordable for people who were coming home from war. So he created these towns called Levitt towns, named after himself, obviously. And they were basically production line houses that were very cookie cutter, and they matched each other, and every house was almost the same. So if you go to that section of Levittown, Pennsylvania, and you drive down the street, you will see almost every house looks exactly alike. He followed the production line method of Henry Ford, where he's like, what color do you want, black or black for your car? He kept it really simple, he kept it affordable, but all these families who were coming home from World War II, these soldiers were able to start families, they were able to get jobs and afford homes in nice communities.
Thank you for that history lesson.
Absolutely.
And I think he's responsible for a lot of how Pennsylvania's economy got started,
Absolutely.
right? So that's kind of an important tidbit to know when you're here in the state. But like I said earlier, this is, it's very tense here. There's a lot of friction between the left and the right. There's a lot of Biden signs. There's a lot of Trump signs. It's not really overwhelmingly one or the other. And however, what I think is interesting is that the polls. So you guys know that I don't like the polls. I don't trust the polls. However, unfortunately, when you're doing like political analysis, you got to look at the polls. And what they show right now is Biden ahead of Trump by 3.6 points. But that is lower than it was last month when I was here. So last month when I was here, he was up by like 4.5, and now he's at 3.5. So President Trump is gaining with people on the ground here in Pennsylvania, and if the polls show that, then we already know they're skewed in Biden's favor, but the polls show that Trump is gaining, then we know that the president is gaining ground here. That's very good. And plus, 3.5 is within the margin of error. So it could mean it could be very much so a toss-up here. And like I said, in 2016, the president only won the state by 44,000 votes. Very slim. But we can do it again, and I think we'll do it again even bigger. And what's funny to me is that the Democrats think the riots help them. The riots don't help them. They drive people more to law and order, because what people want is they want to feel safe. They want to feel secure. They want to live in a nice country where there are good things happening, and where they can safely go out in their neighborhoods and own a business, and they want to feel secure in that. And the Democrats don't provide that. The Republicans do. So whether someone agrees with the president personally or likes his personality or anything like that, they're still going to vote for him based on what he can offer them. So I think that's going to be a very important factor. How do you think the riots are going to affect the election?
Well, I think, like you were saying, this election comes down to a lot more than just personality. This election really comes down to politics. President Trump stands behind our men and women in blue, our law enforcement, our first responders, our military. Joe Biden wants to defund the police. He wants to cut funding from the police department.
Tell us how to be. Oh, it's gone now.
Joe Biden wants to cut funding from the police. So that really tells you who has your back. President Trump wants law and order in our suburbs and in our cities. President Trump will be there for you. He wants to make sure that America is safe, America is wealthy, America is strong, and America is great, like he always says at the end of his speeches. And you only get those ideals and promote those ideals to become a reality through actually doing it and supporting the men and women in blue. And that's why these police organizations and these police unions are coming out like they never have before to support a candidate. New York's finest, the NYPD, came out, the union came out and supported President Trump. Yes, the Fraternal Order of Police. And so they are coming out and they are supporting President Trump because they know not only are their jobs on the line, but the fate of America is on the line. If you get rid of the police, this country will look like Philadelphia. This country will look like Portland every single night, every single day. And they will take what's going on in the cities and bring it into the suburbs. And that is a unfortunate sight of what Joe Biden's America would look like. When Joe Biden said in the debates that there was a dark winter ahead, I only think there would be a dark winter if it was under a Joe Biden presidency.
Yeah, it definitely would be a dark picture under a Joe Biden presidency. He won't rule out lockdowns. He wants a national mask mandate. And I do not want to see Joe Biden inaugurated and then have to go back into a lockdown and wear a mask every single place that I go and have all these terrible restrictions. I don't want that. I want to be free. And that's what President Trump stands for. America is the last stand between freedom and tyranny. If America goes down, there is no other place to go. That means, I don't want to be controlled. And President Trump represents liberty. He represents justice and freedom and law and order. All these things that are traditionally come from our country, and we are proud of those things. But unfortunately, the left wants to demonize those things. They don't want you to think that freedom is a good thing. They want you to think that your freedom is actually a bad thing because it tramples on the rights of someone else or something like that. And that's the problem with the left. They don't understand individual freedom, personal responsibility, things like that us conservatives value. So that's the important thing. We need to be able to talk to our friends and family about those values and help them understand why it's so important and why those things make our country great. Because it's not just that, it's not that America is great just because it's great. It's great because we value freedom and our constitutional rights. I encourage everybody to go read the Constitution and understand what your First Amendment right is, what your Second Amendment right is, 14th Amendment, everything like that. Because it's not just a privilege or an entitlement or something that we get when the governor says we do. There's no contingencies on it. It's a right. It's a God-given right. And we can't let the leftist governors like Newsom tell us that we can only have 3 families at our house on Thanksgiving and only gather for 2 hours. And if we must sing, that we must do it at a normal voice level. We can't do it any louder than a speaking voice. All these crazy restrictions. And, I want President Trump to win because he embodies freedom in this election. He's not going to restrict us from singing. He's not going to restrict us from going to church. He's not going to put an ankle bracelet on us like they did in Kentucky. We got to get rid of these tyrants that completely disregard the Constitution, and we can't wait on anyone else to do it for us. It's time for us as voters to take action, and every single vote counts. We need everybody to get out there in person and send in their vote, because don't think that even if you're in a blue state that your vote doesn't matter. It matters. It matters, because it could be that slim margin that gives President Trump the win. So just like here in Pennsylvania.
Absolutely. Since we're talking about governors, I live in the great state of Florida, and Governor Ron DeSantis has handled this whole pandemic so well, and his response and how he's handling his state and using his executive power. Ron DeSantis, I don't want to go too much about Florida, but really, in contrast to Governor Newsom or the governor of Pennsylvania, has really handled it in a great way. Businesses are open. People are allowed to go to restaurants. People are allowed to go to bars. We have figured out the ways to mitigate the virus as much as we possibly can. And I think we can get I know we can get our lives back to normal. Here we are, back to normal right now. We are at a Trump rally. People have on masks if they wish to. If you don't want to, they don't have to. People have learned to live with this, and it is something that we're rounding the corner on, as President Trump always says. He says that we are rounding the corner and we are finding the cure, and pretty soon the time will come where we will have a vaccine and a cure for this virus. So we cannot let it control our lives, and we cannot let the cure be worse than the actual problem itself. And Governor DeSantis has executed on that very thought alone, and he has opened up businesses. And I would encourage the Democrat governors of these horribly run states to do so. Trust me, it will look a lot better politically to do so. So I encourage you, open up your states. Governor DeSantis has done it, and the state is doing extremely well. We're mitigating the virus, and I think you should do so too. And the people who have the liberal governors, and you feel like not too great because they have you shut down, they have you locked inside your house, that's just one more reason to vote red this November.
Yes, I can't stress it enough. We're 3 days out. Vote red. Tell all your friends and family, get them to vote out and come out and vote too, because this is the most important election of our lives. The first 2016 was important, but this is even more important because we did not just waste the last 4 years on getting all these wonderful things done just for someone like Joe Biden to get in office and undo everything. We can't allow that to happen. It is so vital that we get out the vote and we get as many people as possible to vote Republican, and get out all your independent friends. That's the one group that scares Democrats, is actually the independents, the moderates, the people who are typically, they might vote one way one year and another way the next. These people are definitely voting more conservatively this time around. So it's going to be really important to get that vote out. And don't think that people can't change their minds. People can definitely change their minds. It's all about education and about what's going on in the world. If there's any election that would be easier to tell people about conservatism and tell people about the wonderful things President Trump is doing for the country, it would be now, because we're in a very interesting time where so many people are affected by politics today. Usually people, I think, tend to stay out of politics because their lives aren't really impacted by it. But now everybody's life is impacted by quarantine. Everyone's lives are impacted by the Democrat lockdowns. Or if they live in a free state, they've been able to stay free because they live in South Dakota, where Kristi Noem never did lockdowns. So there's things like that, and it's just, I think people are more open-minded this time around. It might sound crazy, but I really do think that there are people who are open to hearing more about maybe other ideas that are better than lockdowns. So I think the quarantine will help the president, but we'll see what happens. He is set to be here anytime now. It is 12:15. I think he's going to be coming in the motorcade from the right of the stage. And I think we have everybody filled in the crowd now. And we've got a lot of excited Pennsylvanians. It's pretty chilly out here, so I love seeing the dedicated patriots that come out regardless of the weather, because they're so enthusiastic about voting for the president. And with that, you guys can support Right Side Broadcasting by donating to us on our YouTube Super Chat. because we need your help getting to all the president's rallies over the next 3 days. It's the final stretch, guys. Well, actually, we have 2 days of rallies left, but 3 days till the election. So we need all your help to get to these rallies and get our camera crews and everything. So you guys can donate to our website, www.rsbnetwork.com/donate. We get 100% of the profits that go there, I believe. You guys can also send checks and stuff like that to our address in Alabama, which is at 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344, Auburn, Alabama 36830. That address is also on our website, and you can support us by supporting our partner Dismay Coins. Dismay Coins is the epitome of Made in America because they are made in the USA by machines here and by people who deeply love America. They are coins made with genuine silver and copper. They are valuable, unique, and worthwhile purchase, which always makes the perfect presents. Comes in 20 plus patriotic designs, and 2 new designs come each month. We at RSBN are collecting these coins and can collect these all the way up to the election. And they make great gifts for any MAGA fan in your life, your parents, your brother, your sister, everybody. Disney Coins is giving 10% of profits back to conservative causes and organizations, so they are benefiting causes meaningful to you. The viewer can go to www.dismaycoins.com to check out the inventory and start your very own collection of Trump coins today. Use code RSBN at checkout for a discount, and while you're there, don't forget to join the giveaway. It's really easy to do, so just click the giveaway tab on the left side of the screen. The more people that enter, the more winners there will be. That's www.dismaycoins.com, www.dismaycoins.com. Thank you so much, you guys, for all of your support. And you guys can also follow Right Side Broadcasting at RSB Network on Twitter, Instagram, and Parler. So we need to get everybody on Parler. We need to do the censorship-free app. So, Philip, where can people find you on social media?
Well, you can find me on social media at Philip Torino, but real quick, I want to go ahead and I want to toss it back to the studio to our great CEO, Joe Seals. He has a word for you, and then we'll be right back.
All right, really quick. The word is that we will be doing the Montoursville rally. We had to pull some strings to make it happen, but I know it's not up yet, but it will be up very shortly. We'll have Montoursville, Pennsylvania tonight, I believe 8 p.m. Eastern time after the Butler, PA rally. So we're at 4 rallies today. Folks, keep us in your prayers. This is unprecedented. It really is. What we have been able to do this last 3 weeks. Keep in mind that mainstream media doesn't even attend all of the rallies, okay? There's a press pool, so they pool their resources together. Not all of their networks bring their gear and their camera to every single.
Like I said earlier, it is a little bit of a cooler day here in rural Pennsylvania. We are, for those of you who are just joining, we are on a family farm here.
All right, really quick, I have to say this. They pool their resources together, and they make it to the events, and they sometimes use each other's camera feed. It's called the pool. We go to every single event, okay? We travel to every single event with a full crew, and that's very difficult to do for us. So pray for us, because we'll be at 4 today, we'll be at 5 tomorrow, and then we'll be at 5 on Monday. And yes, I was up till 5 a.m. booking travel to make sure that happened. That's why we're a little bit late getting on air today. But just keep us in your prayers and support us, because this is going to be probably the hardest 2 days I've ever experienced in my life, the next 72 hours. So please keep us in your prayers and support us. rsbnetwork.com/donate. God bless you. Let's win this thing. Back to Grace and Philip.
A better deal. Well, in the course of doing so, President Trump also changed the color scheme of Air Force One to a red, white, and blue color scheme, something that looks a lot more American and a lot more patriotic. I happen to like it. Some people are critics of it. Grace, what are your thoughts?
I think the president did just fine. I love red, white, and blue. I think that those are the best countries in the world, or best colors in the world, my bad. America is the best country in the world. So, yeah, the president has brought manufacturing back. He has brought the oil industry back, and he's going to continue doing those things that are important to Pennsylvanians, and I think that's why there's so much support out here today for him, and I think that's why he's going to win in 2020. It looks like they are cleaning off the podium. The president is likely set to arrive very soon, and so he's going to be coming from the right. So as soon as motorcade comes in, we'll pan the camera over, but everybody is settled in and waiting on the president. We'll see what he has to say today, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of breaking updates all the time. I don't know if I've ever seen a news cycle this crazy. There's just constantly something going on every second. Whether it's Hunter Biden, whether it's the GDP or the economy, or there's new reports and polling numbers and riots and all this crazy stuff all the time. So it's definitely not a boring election cycle. The stakes are high, so we'll see what happens on election day. But yeah, it'll come down to very, very close numbers in Pennsylvania. Yeah, so President Trump won by less than 1% in 2016, and I think he'll break that. I think he'll break 1% this time for sure. And oh, I see police coming. Looks like the motorcade is starting to roll in. I'm so excited to see the president. The crowd is cheering. Okay, so looks like he's going to be arriving very soon here. And, unfortunately, the mainstream media doesn't travel to every event like we do at RSBN Broadcasting. We come to every event, and we make sure that you guys get the full story here. And, yeah, so, we're not mainstream media. We're a small company based out of Auburn, Alabama, and we still have the dedication to the president. We have, thanks to you guys, we have the resources to get to all of these events, and over the next couple days it's going to be a wild ride. So we appreciate all the prayers and all the donations, all the support that we get from you guys. All the messages are really sweet too. Like, we get a lot of messages from you guys and handwritten notes, and we couldn't thank you guys enough for all of the support that you give us. We couldn't do it without you, honestly. Yeah, so very excited to see the president come on.
Yes, Grace, thank you so much. The one thing that I did just notice, the seal for the President of the United States has been placed on the podium. Normally this is a sign that it's only a matter of time before the President arrives. When that seal is on there, the only person who speaks at that podium, for the most part, is the President of the United States. In a rare case, he might bring somebody up there, but that is a telltale sign that the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, will be arriving shortly when that seal is on the podium. We did just see a little bit of motorcade action, some bikes coming up on the right-hand side along the road here, so that's where we're expecting the rest of the motorcade will come. And when it does come, you know that we will show you the motorcade as it arrives. Of course, RSBN is dedicated to bringing you live, uninterrupted coverage of the rallies, and so we will pan the crowd and we will show you everything that comes up. People standing on the bleachers here turned around. They have their phones out. They're helping their kids onto their shoulders. They're raising their wives, and whatever the case might be, to catch a glimpse of the beast and the motorcade as it comes in down this road here in a more rural part of Pennsylvania in Bucks County. There's some crews set up out there. Not exactly sure what they're doing, but people are just trying to catch a glimpse. I believe that anytime you get to see the President of the United States, it is truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Not many people get to see the President of the United States very often. Where I live in Florida, we do get to see him quite a bit because that's where his hometown is, so he's always coming there. But for people in Bucks County, anytime they get to see the President of the United States, it is quite the treat. And that is why people have showed up here today to make sure that when they do get their chance, they're here for it. There's quite a good turnout. I wonder if Joe Biden could even get this turnout in Bucks County, which is a swing county, I guess you would say, right, Grace? And so we'll see if Joe Biden, I don't think he's going to come here, but I wonder if Joe Biden could ever get a crowd like this. I don't even think Barack Obama could pull a crowd like this. So President Trump is truly one of those once in a lifetime figures that when you get the chance to see him, you got to go see him, because he is quite the entertainer and he is quite the character on stage, and also very, very, in what I would say, much a great president. And he proves that through his speeches and his talking points when he's on stage, and everyone's here for it through the midst of the cold and the somewhat muddy ground out here on the farm that we had to walk through to get here. But people are here for it, and they want to see the president. They're anxiously waiting. Everybody's standing up. They got their hands in their pockets trying to keep themselves warm, but they're ready to see the president of the United States.
And to your point just a couple minutes ago, President Trump is he is the most transparent president and politician that we've ever had in this country. You don't see other presidents having as many public appearances and press conferences, meetings, and everything is completely public. The press is allowed on all of his conference calls, or most of them, obviously, and not the like DoD briefings and things like that. But most other things, we have access to everything the president is doing and saying, and his plans for the future. And that's one thing that the Biden president, or the possible Biden presidency, cannot offer. They cannot offer transparency. They call lids. Oh, we have some people waving in the crowd. Thank you for supporting. I love how excited people are. People always wave at RSBN. They usually chant CNN sucks, so we have a little bit more of a little more civil crowd here. So they're not too hard on CNN, but we know CNN's fake news, and but people know, the Trump supporters know that right-side broadcasting is the future. The future is unbiased news and showing the full picture. People are tired of seeing edits and or devious edits and cropped pictures and just misleading news. It's not real news. It's just a narrative. We don't want to see a biased political narrative, whether it's Democrat or Republican. I mean, we want to see the unbiased full picture of what's happening so we can decide for ourselves. And that's something that I think is so important to preserve. A lot of networks don't have that these days. But another thing we need to do is promote conservative news, because the tech companies are working so hard to silence conservative beliefs. They don't want people to hear about all the great things the president has accomplished. I mean, we could go into. I actually just did an episode of my full-time job. I work at a place called Freedom Wire News. You guys can go to freedomwire.com and read my articles. But we just did a whole podcast about all of Trump's top accomplishments, and my top 3 ranged from the economy and how he was able to reach unprecedented lowest unemployment rates in history, especially for minorities and women, and that's a great accomplishment. And the left likes to say that the president is so anti-minority and he hates blacks and Hispanics and women and he's misogynist and all these horrible things that are just absolutely false. It could not be more untrue, and the president has proved that in things like the Platinum Plan, where he is investing $500 billion into black communities and bringing up black businesses. And he just did the American Dream Plan. He announced that a couple days ago during a Florida rally, where he's going to invest a ton of money, a ton of federal funding into Hispanic communities, and starting, I think he said, 500,000 new small businesses that are Hispanic owned. So that's something to celebrate. And the president he's pro-America. He doesn't discriminate against certain Americans, and he doesn't give certain Americans opportunities like a lot of people talk about on the left. They only want to give, they basically don't want to give white Americans any opportunities. They want to give them all to minorities. And we can't do it like that. We'd have to have equal opportunity for all. So that's one principle that makes this country so great, is that everybody can have an equal opportunity, and that's something that we need to maintain. It's not racist to say that. It's true. So yes, the president is restoring American greatness, and we have to make sure he gets reelected.
I hear the lamestream media, as I like to call them, say all the time that President Trump is a racist, and there simply is nothing true about that. 100% wrong, everything they say. They say that President Trump is a white supremacist. They are wrong yet again. I forget the exact number, Grace, but since 2016, the amount of times that he has denounced white supremacy, racism, David Duke, he has come out strongly against them every single time, and he has said, I denounce white supremacism, I denounce David Duke, I denounce the KKK. Yet the media still likes to push this narrative that he is a racist, and that just simply is not true. I think we have the motorcade pulling up over here, as you will see on the screen, slowly working its way down the road. You see the lead car there peeking through the trees. I may be wrong. Yeah. I may have been wrong there, but I'm sure it was only a matter of time before the president arrives. And like I was saying, the fact that they say that President Trump is a racist is just simply not true. And when President Trump was a private citizen, just Donald Trump then, the businessman, that you notice they never said that, and they always enjoyed his money. So it is truly a matter of politics that they like to call President Trump a racist and a white supremacist. Real quick, before the president comes on, I do want to mention again our partner, Dismay Coin Company. Dismay Coins is the epitome of made in America, because they are made in the USA by machines that are made in America by people who deeply love America. That is a lot of America. Coins made with genuine silver and copper, and their coins are valuable and are a unique, worthwhile purchase, which always means to make perfect presents. They make perfect gifts to give to someone in your MAGA family. They come in 20 plus patriotic designs and 2 new designs coming each month. We at RSBN are collecting every single coin and collect them along with us each and every month leading up to the election. They also make great gifts, like I said, for people in the MAGA fans in your family. I'm not sure if they had liberals in your family, if they would like them so much, but MAGA fans definitely would like Dismay Coin Company. Dismay Coins is giving 10% of profits back to conservative causes and organizations, so they benefit causes meaningful to you, the viewer. Go to www.dismaycoins.com. That's DISME coins.com to check out the inventory and start your very own collection of Trump coins today. Use code RSBN at checkout for a discount. While you're there, don't forget to join the giveaway. It's really easy to do. Click the giveaway tab on the left side of the screen. The more people they enter, the more people that win. That's www.dismaycoins.com. That's www.dismaycoins.com. Our partner here bringing you today's coverage of President Trump's rally in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
Thank you so much, Philip. So I think another one of the president's greatest contributions to not just America, but America's allies in the world are all of the peace deals he's been able to accomplish in only the past 3 months. Imagine getting 4 peace deals in 3 months. There was 4 different countries, 3 Middle East, all 4 are Muslim majority countries that agreed to normalize peace with Israel. And that is historic, because I think the first country to do it was the United Arab Emirates. They agreed to normalize peace with Israel, which was followed by the Kingdom of Bahrain, Serbia and Kosovo, and now Sudan, which is, it's amazing, you guys. What the president is doing for world peace and for Israel, for the United States, is amazing. The last time somebody normalized peace with Israel was Egypt, and I think it was in 1979. And the president was able to get 4 peace deals in 3 months. It just blows my mind, you guys, because that affects not only America, but it affects everybody across the world, and especially war-torn and battled regions like the Middle East and like Sudan, which formerly harbored Osama bin Laden and committed terrorist attacks on the United States embassies in Africa and things like that. The president was also able to negotiate $335 million for the victims of terrorist attacks at the U.S. embassies in Tanzania and Kenya. So that's another amazing feat, and just all the things he's doing for human trafficking. He has pioneered the war on human trafficking, and he created a task force which is very much so influenced by Ivanka Trump and Attorney General William Barr, and they fight human trafficking all the time, and they have allocated millions and millions of dollars to that cause, where they've been able to create operations led by U.S. Marshals, where they actually within the past 3 months, they had Operation Safety Net and a couple of other operations that rescued over 100 children who were being actively trafficked in the United States. This is at home. This is in Ohio, which is a total hotspot for human trafficking, in Georgia and places like that. So it's just truly amazing what President Trump is doing for life. And one thing that I've heard from liberals a lot, I take a lot of Ubers, especially to the airports and stuff, and they all like to talk about the president and how they always say, oh, the conservatives always think President Trump is so pro-life. But if he was pro-life, then why didn't he handle COVID better to save 200,000 lives? And obviously it's not as simple as that. Oh, we got the motorcade coming in. Finally, they are coming in. We got the first signs of it, and then we got the camera panning right over. We got to bring the leader of the free world to Bucks County, Pennsylvania. We got the crowd cheering. This president is so humble. He does all these great things for the world, for humanity, for life, for the pro-life cause, for everything, for minorities. And he still comes to small towns like this. It's just great. So we got the motorcade coming through. I think we're gonna see the beast. The president loves the beast, so that is pretty amazing. The people here are very, very excited, and again, this is a very tense region. This is the battleground state that the president has to win the election. They always say whoever wins Pennsylvania wins the entire election. So the president is going to be coming out soon, walking through this tent and walking on stage, taking the stage. So he's a little late, but we don't mind that because we love covering the president. And yeah, so where can people find you on social media, Philip?
You can follow me on social media at Philip Torino. The crowd is going wild here. He apparently just got out of the beast and is making his way towards the crowd here in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. It's always some sight to see the motorcade pull up in all of its glory, so many cars deep. And when the President of the United States does take this stage, we will be the first ones to bring it to you as you join us live on our stream here on YouTube. It seems like everyone is getting out of the motorcade, kind of mobilizing themselves to where they need to be, and it's only a matter of time before we hear from President Donald J. Trump as he makes his way out onto the stage here in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. It appears that right now he's kind of in that where that white tent is, in that staging area, probably saying hellos to the people who are here. And I think I saw the farm owners walk into there, so probably greetings and saying hello to everybody. So it is only a matter of time. Press is coming out of the vans. Everybody's making their way over here to the press risers or into the crowd to go where they need as the president walks out. And then obviously when the president does walk out, you will hear the famous ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 45th president. So it is only a matter of time before that happens, and you hear the great song by Lee Greenwood, God Bless the USA. From what I understand, the president has exited the motorcade and will be taking the stage here shortly. Secret Service is mobilizing themselves, security is mobilizing themselves, kind of standing guard where they need to. And when the President of the United States does make his way out here, we will be the first ones to bring it to you on Right Side Broadcasting Network. You can follow us on social media at RSB Network. Guys, I cannot stress how important social media is in this time. Back in the day, for our more mature audiences, you might have understood paper subscriptions and how important those were to keep companies going. But we are in the same way, just in a different century, in a different age, and we are in the age of social media, and subscriptions and follows and likes are so important to our company to help keep pushing our mission forward and sharing the news of what our company does to everybody. So please go ahead and do so. Take a moment to follow RSB Network on all of our platforms, and
you guys can follow RSB Network on Parler, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And we give you guys live updates where we'll keep you updated on where we're going to be, what time, who's going to be there. I know you guys love our Liz Willis and our other correspondents, so we give you guys live updates. We go live and we talk about we tell you guys everything the president is doing. So follow us on social media. Keep up with us. Go everywhere the president goes, like we do. And unlike the mainstream media, who has resources, yet won't go out and cover the president. So at least as much as we do, they won't give you the full picture and show the crowds and tell you about how these areas are doing. And we're just 2 days out from the election, you guys. So we really appreciate all of your support. It means everything to us. We're a very small company. We're very tight-knit, and we don't have that many resources. So everything that you guys are able to donate to RSBN really goes a long, long way, and it helps us make it to all of these rallies. Shout out to our CEO, Joe Seals. He is swamped in the studio. He's so busy getting all of our travel. I think we probably have a couple dozen employees traveling. So especially over these next couple of days are going to be rough. So, but we're still happy and proud to do it. This is the honor of a lifetime to be able to cover the president. So again, we really appreciate all of your support. And I would read out some last minute shout outs before the president takes the stage, but my internet went out again, like it usually does. So. I thank you so much to all the super chatters. I gotta say that because I'm so sorry I can't read them to you or the email donations. But I think we got the president coming out soon.
Yes, yeah. And right there in the crowd, I don't know if you see him with the blue tie on, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows saying hello to the people in the audience. Mark was a former congressman from North Carolina, now being replaced by hopefully Madison Cawthorn, one of the youngest people to ever run for United States Congress. And Mark's here saying hello to the crowd. Like I said, White House Chief of Staff, welcoming everybody and making sure they feel warm here in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. If we could probably just see him right there, I'm sure we can. Just saying hi to everybody. So that just goes to show you how the Trump administration is. They really want to be in touch with the people. They're not elitists. They don't want to be, behind a curtain. They want to be out in front of the people, and they want to be talking with the American citizens and American people to find out what their issues are and what their struggles are, and they're just to say hi to everybody. So that is a true testament to what the Trump administration is, that the White House Chief of Staff would come in and say hi to everybody who's in the crowd. So that is something that I find to be truly, truly cool.
Yeah, again, you guys, this is transparency, and I think this Mark Meadows going out into the crowd just really reflects how the Trump administration wants to be in touch with the American people, and they want to work with Americans. They don't want to sit up in their mansions like Nancy Pelosi and eat $40 ice cream and all this crazy stuff that they do that we talk about. But it's the truth. You know, the Republicans that are in office right now, they want to help America, and that's what we really need right now. This is again, America is the last stand. There's no other place to go if America, again, is taken over by socialism or communism. So it's so important that we spread that message with everybody. And I think that just like the passion in the conservative movement right now, really has just been inspiring so many people to do things they don't usually do, like actually consider conservative values. And but it's just a testament to how good the people are in the conservative movement and how passionate we are. And yeah, so we're very excited to see the president. Hopefully he can give us an update on Pennsylvania, because I've been watching this state so closely, it's not even funny, because I know how important it is, 20 electoral votes. Plus, during the last debate, Joe Biden was saying he wants to eliminate fossil fuels. He doesn't want to support the mining community here. And that's what got the president elected in 2016 by such a small margin, is the huge turnout of coal miners in rural areas in Pennsylvania that may not usually vote. And that's just a testament to how much the president cares about the forgotten people of America. And that was a big point in 2016 when he was campaigning, was that he is for the forgotten men and women in America. And whether it's people who serve our country, or manufacturers or farmers, the blue collar people, he's not an elitist, and that's what Philip was just saying. He is not an elitist, and he's not a globalist who is for the big industries in this country. He's taking on big pharma. He's taking on the WHO and all these global entities. And he pulled out the Paris Climate Accord, and he is trying to resolve issues like the Iran deal that Obama made. a Republican talking point. It's the truth, it's the facts of what the president has accomplished for this country. And I feel so passionate about that because I'm an American and I don't want to see other countries put first. I want to see the interests of my friends, my family put first. So, and I know all of you guys who support Right Side Broadcasting also want to see that. So, I'm very involved with the conservative movement here. I've been involved with Turning Point USA. I've been on my own college campus and talking to students, and students are very, very open to conservative ideals. And I think that was first brought on by the President Trump's run in 2016. We may not have otherwise had. So there's a lot of energy and young people, and I'm on the ground every day. So you guys can find me on social media at Grace Saldana, GraceSaldanaa. I'm on Instagram, Parler, Twitter, everything. So you guys can watch my fight in the conservative movement there too. But yeah, so it's going to be crazy. I'm so excited to see the demographics because I truly think it's going to be a red wave. The president keeps tweeting. He keeps tweeting giant red wave, massive red wave. And it's not just to give you guys hope. It is what is happening. I think the swing states are going full on for Trump. And like I always say, I think California is going for Trump. And I know that the minority vote is definitely going to the president in states like Florida, where Hispanic support for the president is it is massive compared to 2016. In 2016, I think he was at 30% of the vote, but now he's polling at 45% of the Hispanic vote, so that's a good sign. And I saw some studies last week that were talking about the young black male vote is going to the president, so it's very encouraging. Asian Americans, everybody is we had a better state of things under President Trump before the pandemic. We had a great economy. We had a booming economy. We were bringing jobs back. We were, especially from overseas. The previous administration, Obama-Biden, outsourced our jobs to places like China. They outsourced our jobs to India and like all these places. And we need to put America first, you guys. I'm saying, people forget how great we had it before the pandemic, and hopefully they come to understand that under a Joe Biden presidency, his tax plan, what he wants to do to the financial policy of this country, it would completely destroy American livelihoods. Have you seen the tax plan, Philip? Joe Biden's tax plan? Have you seen Joe Biden's tax plan?
Joe Biden's tax plan will totally undo everything that President Trump has worked so hard to get for the American people. President Trump promised to deliver tax cuts when he was running in 2016, and that is exactly what the president did. He delivered on his promises. The president likes to say, promises made, promises kept, and that is exactly what the president did. He kept his promises, and under a Joe Biden presidency, your taxes would be astronomical. He likes to say that he's only going to raise his taxes for people who make above $400,000 per year, but he also says he will slash Trump tax cuts, which is going to be hard on the average worker, on the middle class families in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Wisconsin, in Ohio, in Florida. It is going to be tough on those families. That is money every year that those families have in their pocket that they are waiting on. It just got very quiet here, so we're waiting to see what...
The President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, day. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. What an honor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. We love this section of the world. It's a beautiful section. We appreciate it very much. And I'm thrilled to be back in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania so much. Thank you. This is the state where the story of American independence began. It's the state where the American Constitution was signed. Think of that. And 3 days from now, this is the state that will save the American dream. On November 3rd, we're going to win Pennsylvania, and we are going to win 4 more years in that very beautiful White House. We're gathered today in a very special place. In the harrowing days of December 1776, when the American Revolution seemed lost, General George Washington made his headquarters at this Bucks County farmhouse to plan his famous crossing of the Delaware. On Christmas night, he led what remained, and remained, very little remained, of that ragtag Continental Army on a daring midnight raid. It was a tough night. It was a violent night. They marched through 9 miles of ice and snow, many without boots on their feet, leaving a trail of blood in their wake. At dawn, they seized victory at Trenton. Their sacrifice turned the entire tide of the war. Those soldiers came from every walk of life, but what united them all was their devotion to the principle of self-government. They were determined to live in a country where power belongs to the people. That priceless inheritance is at stake just 3 days from now, and a great red wave is forming. As sure as you're there, as sure as we're here together, that wave is forming, and they see it. They see it on all sides, and there's not a thing they can do about it. This is the fundamental question facing every voter in America. Do you want to be a nation ruled by the corrupt political class, or do you want to be governed by the American people? I ran for office 4 years ago because I could not sit by and watch any longer as a small group of Washington insiders continued to get rich, bleeding American dry. You're just bleeding America dry. Think of it. Closing our factories, opening our borders, outsourcing our industries, and letting foreign countries ravage our middle class. Career politicians spend trillions of dollars fighting foreign wars while letting our own cities crumble and decay. Here in Pennsylvania, you know this bitter and very painful betrayal all too well, better than most. The corrupt Washington class launched an economic war against this state. For decades, they targeted your steel mills, shut down your plants, and sent millions of your jobs overseas, all while lining their pockets with special interest cash. And no one embodies this betrayal and treachery more than Joe Biden. And worst of all, the suppressed media and big tech refuses to cover the crime. They refuse to cover. We've learned so much over the last 2 weeks. For 47 years, he supported every disastrous trade deal that enriched his cronies and impoverished your state. He wiped out Pennsylvania steel. He was the cheerleader for NAFTA and China's entry into the World Trade Organization. Pennsylvania lost 50% of your manufacturing jobs after those Biden disasters. Then Biden pushed the job-killing Paris Climate Accord, an economic nightmare for Pennsylvania miners and every worker in our country. He backed TPP, which would have extinguished the American auto industry forever. Forever. These betrayals not only made Biden's donors rich, they made his family rich. And as we know, he profited from the misery of unleashed work and horror given to Pennsylvania workers. He made a lot of money, and his family made a lot of money, and nobody knew about it until just recently. At the debate, I looked at him and said, Joe, you were here for 47 years, and you left only 3.5 years ago. Why didn't you do these things that you want done? Why didn't you fix it, Joe? And as you know, because I assume a number of you watched the debate, but as you know, he just looked at me and shrugged. In fact, the anchor looked up and said, why did you do it? She couldn't believe it. You know, she was on his side. She said, why did you do it? Why did you do it, and why did you say it? In 2016, Pennsylvania voted to fire this failed and corrupt political establishment, and you voted for an outsider as president who is finally putting America first. And if I don't look like a typical politician, that's very simple. It's because I'm not a politician. If I don't always play by the rules of Washington and the Washington establishment, it's because I was elected to fight for you, and I fought harder for you than any president in the history of our country. From day one, Washington insiders have been trying to stop me because they do not own me and they do not control me. They want control. They don't like what I'm doing. They don't like what I've said to the big pharma, the drug companies, the number one lobbyist in the world, number one lobbyist in our country. They didn't like that I instituted favored nations so that we now pay the lowest prices in the world for prescription drugs instead of the highest prices in the world. If these corrupt forces succeed in electing Joe Biden, Washington will see to it that another outsider never becomes president again. It'll never happen again. And nobody has done in 3.5 years, nobody, no administration, no president, what we've done and what we've accomplished. And it's not even challenged. Nobody even challenges that. They'll take back control and they will never, ever give it up. This once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to beat the corrupt politicians will be lost forever, and they know it. They're fighting so hard, and they hate what they're seeing because they're not looking at fake suppression polls anymore. Now they're looking at the numbers that are pouring in, and they don't like the numbers that they're seeing in Florida and in Ohio and in North Carolina. And we think in Pennsylvania, although those numbers come in late. We think in Pennsylvania. They don't like it. They don't like it. They don't like what they see. And I just want to tell you that we have really, things have worked out so well for our country. Nobody had any idea that anything like this could ever happen. If you look at what's going on with, over the last 4 years, we've been building the biggest, strongest, and most secure middle class in human history. We built the most powerful military anywhere in the world. And over the next 4 years, we will make it even stronger like nobody thought even possible. Do not be intimidated by our opponents' angry and menacing tone, because if we were, we would never have been able to accomplish what we've accomplished. In truth, they are actually terrified of you, the people. They're terrified. They're terrified that you will discover that you have the power to end their corrupt rule once and for all. We have to do it. When you see what's going on, we have to do it. We don't have a choice. Somebody said, "Do you enjoy this?" I said, "It's not a question of enjoyment. Believe it or not, I do. I shouldn't. Have to go check something, but I shouldn't." But, today we're doing 3 rallies. Tomorrow we're doing 5, and the smallest crowd will be 25,000 people. Then on Monday we're doing 5 or 6. And I can't tell you what's going to happen. I think we'll just go home and rest. But they don't get to decide this election. This is your choice. We have to be very careful. We have to be very, very careful, especially in this state, more than any other state. They say you have to be very, very careful. What happens in Philadelphia, we have to be everybody has to watch, vigilant. Your decision, your future is at stake. As your president, I don't answer to the special interests of no interest in me. I don't take instructions from donors and lobbyists. I don't care about them. I don't care about them. I don't take my orders from the media, or as I affectionately call them, the fake news media. And as you know, they've turned out to be far more fake than we ever thought. And they've really turned out to be corrupt. They are corrupt. They are really corrupt. The word fake is not strong enough, especially after what we've seen, where stories, major stories, the biggest story anywhere in the world is absolutely not covered. It's hard to have scandal when you have no coverage. And they work in conjunction with big tech, and they protect each other, and they protect the Democrats, because with the Democrats, you don't have somebody up talking like I do about them. So they can do whatever they want, and this will only lead to very bad things. I do what is right for America. I do what's right for America. It's made me a lot of enemies in Washington, but I wear their opposition as a badge of honor. Winston Churchill once said that it was a nation that had the lion heart. I had the luck to give it the roar. I gave it the roar, and there is a roar, and people hear it all over. They heard it 4 years ago, loud and clear. Probably the biggest thing to happen. They talk Brexit, they talk many, numerous things, but this is always number one. What happened? 2016. And I will say, 2016 was an incredible, earth-shaking event. But 2020, and I never thought I'd say this, 2020, what we're doing right now through Tuesday, what we're doing is far bigger. It's far bigger. I never thought I'd say it. I never thought 4 years ago, and you never did either, somebody would say that this is going to be the most important election perhaps in the history of our country. It's really amazing. The greatest threat to American democracy is the concentration of power among a small group of unelected special interests. The big tech CEOs, who have been put in a position by us giving a law to them, Section 230. We've given them that power. And you know, that can be taken away. That can be taken away. And probably has to be taken away. I see it better than all. I see it so obviously. I see it because of what I do on social media. For me, it's very easy to see. I see things that nobody would believe. The corporate media and the mega donors in Washington and Silicon Valley, they're all lining up behind an opponent that's going to do whatever they tell him to do. That's sleepy Joe Biden. It could have been the greatest. You know, if you look, we look at the amount of money that he has raised, hundreds of millions, $300 million one month. But I could have been the greatest of all time. I could have been the greatest political fundraiser because as president, all I had to do is call Wall Street, the big banks. I could have called the oil companies. I could have called all of the big companies. And every single one of them, and I know many of them, would have given me whatever I wanted. But I chose not to do that. And we did plenty. We have plenty. You can only buy so many commercials, you know. When the airways are full and you can't buy any more, I'm saying, where are we going to spend it? Although we did spend, in our case, a lot on ground game, which they, I think, forgot to spend. As much money as they have. They're screaming in Florida, where's our ground game? Where's our ground? Well, it takes a long time. You know what? It took us a year and a half to build that ground game. So we'll see how it all works out. But they didn't do that. They decided to go a different route. But they took in massive amounts of money. I could have taken in much more than that. They did 350. I could have done that within an hour. The president is calling. He'd like you to send $25 million, please. Who's going to tell me no? Nobody. But the problem is when they call in 6 months needing a favor that's worth billions, it's very hard, especially me being a loyal person, not a dishonest person, but a loyal person. It's very hard for me to say, no, I don't want to take his call. No, his or her call. No, I don't want to do it. So it really, you're compromised. It would have compromised our nation. So I didn't want to do that. Joe Biden works for them. I know them very well. I know them far better than he does. I know him far better than he. Some are friends. Some are actually very surprised when I say, you don't have to bother. Don't worry. I don't think we can buy any more anyway, right? But he works for them. And when you see those numbers, 350 million, so much they don't know what to do with it, where they're spending $25-30 million on a congressional race that used to spend $500,000, you know something's going on, and it's not a good thing, and it's not the way I want to work. This was one opportunity to do something special. This isn't a company. This isn't making some money. This is one opportunity to turn our country around. And we're not going to blow it. So he works for them, not for you. And it is I who work for you. I am working for you. It's like, not used to that too much, but I've gotten used to it. And we have this great opportunity together. And our people tend to vote in particular state. You tend to vote on the 3rd. I could say go in an early vote. Don't wait till Tuesday. Vote today, vote tomorrow, vote on Monday. But I'm wasting a lot of time because you want to go. It's tradition, it's habit, it's the history of this state. Look at what you've done with this state. Look at the history of this state with respect to our country. And you want to go, so I won't even say go today, go tomorrow, go the next day, or go on the 3rd. We want election day. Thank you. Election day. And we have others like that too. We have others like that too. They want election day. It's going to be a great day. The more these corrupt forces oppose me, the more I know we are delivering real change, real progress, and historic victories for the American people. We have done great things with the country, including our military, our vets, the biggest tax and regulation cuts in history. We just received a poll. This was a real poll, not a suppression poll, where the vets gave us a 91% approval rating for the job that we're doing. Think of that, 91%, the highest ever. Over these last 4 years, we've been building the strongest and most secure middle class in human history. We have built the most powerful military in the world by far. Nobody has ever built what we've built. And when I came in, we had a depleted military. We had old planes. We used to get parts by going to the airplane graveyards and taking the old parts out of old planes that were sitting there rusting in the sun and crazy weather where they store them in the deserts. And that's what we were doing. We had a terribly depleted military. And now we have the best equipment anywhere in the world by far, all made in the USA. And as I say, we are the envy of every world. We are the envy of every world power. From China to Russia, North Korea, they look at us and they say, wow, what they've done. New jets, new fighter jets, bombers, tanks, missiles, rockets, nuclear. And just hope to God we never have to use it. Hope to God we never have to use it, but it's less likely that we'll ever have to use it when we have it. Okay? When we have it. We were in very bad shape militarily. A general came to see me, highly overrated general came to see me actually. One of the world's most overrated generals, and he said, sir, we have no ammunition. Right at the beginning, you know what I'm talking about, because we could have had conflict. He said, sir, could you hold it off? We have no ammunition. And I said, General, no president should ever hear that statement again. We have no ammunition. Well, now we have so much ammunition. Our problem is we have no storage. And over the next 4 years, we will make it even stronger. It's going to keep us safe. Last night, our brave special forces rescued an American hostage in a faraway country. These are incredible people. And I was in Fort Bragg yesterday, and I met a lot of these incredible, talented, strong, both physically and mentally, the strongest, the best in the world. But we had a mission sent to a faraway land where they kidnapped an American citizen, and the kidnappers wished they had never done it. And they went in with a large group, 0 casualties. We got our American citizen, young man, we got our young man back. But the other side suffered gravely, I can tell you that. Our nation salutes its courageous military, which brilliantly executed this operation. Very few people would have been able to do it. It was very complicated and very complex, tough area. We celebrate the safe return home of an American hostage. We've gotten many hostages home. And I pay nothing, can't pay. Once you pay, you'll have many, many more. We're 40-0. Robert O'Brien, who's doing a tremendous job, said to me, sir, you're 48-0. 48-0, think of that. We've brought many, many of them home. Some mostly in pretty good shape, some in very, very bad shape. Specifically, you know who I'm talking about. Came home in very bad shape, but sometimes that happens too. But we've brought many home, but we don't pay. You pay, once you pay, your numbers will go up 1,000-fold. We're boldly standing up to China. We achieved the most secure border in American history, our southern border. We have attained, in just a short period of time, American energy independence. And if we're up to the opposing side with the Green New Deal, the Green New Dealers, AOC +3, and you add Pelosi and Schumer, and you add Joe Biden, who really doesn't understand it, so you don't have to probably. They'll tell him what to do. He'll do whatever they tell him, whatever it takes. He'll say whatever it takes. with the sunglasses, or the sunglasses yesterday. I said, I don't think I'm going to do that, but I watched those sunglasses. I don't know. To me, it didn't work. We're bringing our jobs, our factories, our wealth, and our troops all back home. They're all coming home. They're all coming home. And instead of endless wars in countries that even you very sophisticated people in some cases have never even heard of, we're achieving one historic peace deal after another. If you look. Middle East, we already have 3 signed up. We have many countries want to sign. We're signing them rapidly. And even with Kosovo and Serbia, we're doing a trade deal with each, a routine trade deal. When I heard about it, I said, wait a minute. They've been killing each other for decades. They've been killing and killing for decades, each other, fighting all the time. We're doing a trade deal. They want it. They always want us. All of them want us. The whole world wants us. So we're in a great negotiating position. But I said, Kosovo, Serbia, we're doing a trade deal. You tell them we're not going to do the deal unless they make peace. And all of a sudden, they were hugging in the Oval Office. Right, right? No. And it came through common sense, and it came for no money. Going to make a trade deal. We said, no, we're not going to make the deal unless you two start getting in. You're killing each other for decades and decades. That's all they do is they kill each other. And when I saw the 2 leaders hugging in the Oval Office, and there was I think they were exhausted, frankly. I think it was time. It was time, but somebody had to say, do it. Just seemed to make a lot of sense. I said, wait a minute, let's do it, and we did it. So I'm very happy about that. And thanks to our administration's unprecedented mobilization, we're now just weeks away from a mass distributing of a safe vaccine. We're really, we've got it. We've got great companies, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, all with a vaccine, all with the different versions of it, some similar concepts, but, and many other companies, and we're ready, we'll have that. And we will have it, but even if you didn't, I say it drives them crazy. We're rounding the turn. We're rounding that turn. We're rounding it. And our economy went down less than any economy anywhere in the world, and it went up faster by far. You know, they keep hearing about Europe. Well, they're not doing nearly as well. Seniors will be first in line for the vaccine. And the vaccine will be free because it's not their fault. It was China's fault. China did this to us. And our vaccine will eradicate the virus and end the pandemic once and for all. Americans will return to school and to life. By slashing red tape and cutting bureaucracy, we're producing this vaccine in record time. If Joe Biden were president, you wouldn't have this vaccine for 4 years. And he had his chance with the H1N1, he calls it in reverse, swine flu, which was a disaster. We've moved heaven and earth to produce the vaccine ahead of schedule and manufacture hundreds of millions of doses in advance, all ready to be shipped. And we have our military is going to be shipping it. Logistics, we have a general, that's what he does. He delivers troops. He said, sir, this is easy. We'll get it done very quickly. It's the most advanced medical operation anywhere in the world and in history. Thanks to the therapies we've accelerated, we have already reduced the mortality rate. 85%, think of that, down 85%. And our excess mortality rate is 40% lower than Europe's. And Europe has done a good job. It's a very brutal thing. Everyone thought Germany was doing great. They're not doing great. Right now, you see what's going on over there with France, again, Spain and Italy. But we're doing great, but we just don't get credit for it. We don't get credit. And I don't want the credit personally, but I want the generals and the admirals and our great Vice President, Mike Pence, who worked so hard, and all of the people on the task force, and Jared Kushner, what he did, he's here someplace. But he was fantastic on the ventilators. You know, ventilators are very, very complex. Oh, look at that, Jared. And he wants no praise. He couldn't care less. He truly couldn't care. Thank you, Jared. No, we had a tremendous just a quick story. We had a tremendous ventilator problem because we weren't equipped for a thing like this. This is once in 100 years. It was 1918. We're talking about the Spanish flu. And we weren't equipped for that. And all of a sudden we're getting calls. We need 40,000 ventilators, like in New York. They needed far less than that, but they needed many, many ventilators. And other states are calling. We need ventilators. And it's a very complicated piece of equipment, as you can imagine, with pipes going down, heavily computerized. And people didn't know what to do, making them on a mass scale like this. Hospitals had very few of them. And Jared called up some of his genius friends. His brother's one of the most important people in Silicon Valley, smart family. They called up and they had these super brilliant young men come in. I mean, some of them were wearing undershirts. They were wearing a baseball cap. How much are you worth? About $1 billion, sir. It's true. They had founded companies, sold their companies, but they were brilliant. One of them had roller skates on. And they wanted to throw him out of the White House. They said, "Sir, there's a kid here, undershirt and roller skates." I said, "Yeah, he's worth $2.5 billion. You know? But Jared called a whole group of people down. And to them, to us, to all of us, a ventilator is very complicated. To them, it's like the simplest machine they've ever seen. And they went to the automobile companies where they had excess plant capacity, and they went to various companies, and we started producing within a short period of time ventilators. And this story is just never told, and I don't think I've ever told it, not in this detail. We started producing ventilators in a short period of time at a level that nobody thought was thousands and thousands of months. Nobody thought was even possible. And a relatively short period of time after that, all of our hospitals were sent tens of thousands of ventilators, tens of thousands of ventilators. Great companies, very big companies, the car companies, very big companies. They did a fantastic job. They'd line up with a small ventilator company. And we make the best ventilators. I mean, they say they're the best. And they were sent all over our country. And think of it, and that was done so quickly. But these brilliant young people were able to do it. Regular people you could never do a thing like this. So we made thousands a month, and not one person, think of this, in our country, not one person who needed a ventilator didn't get a ventilator. How incredible is that? But they won't tell that story. And that's not me, that's Jared and a whole group of very brilliant people, together with the military and with a lot of our great companies. We've had a tremendous relationship. It's the biggest mobilization since World War II. And it was an incredible job. Now what we're doing is we continue to make thousands a month, and we're sending them to foreign countries who are desperate for ventilators and would have no idea, there would be no way they could ever get them. Including, we send them to France, and we send them to Spain and Italy, but we send them to countries in Africa who are really having a terrible hard time. And we're sending thousands of them to other countries. And I just think it's a tremendous story. And it's something that we did that we're very proud of. And it's something that nobody talks about. You don't hear the word ventilators anymore. You know why you don't hear about it? Because we solved, there was a period of time, ventilators, for 3, 4, 5 weeks until they sent these super geniuses. And for 3, 4, 5 weeks, all you heard about was ventilators, ventilators, ventilators. Well, we took over something. The cupboards were bare. They were bare, or essentially bare, but they were bare. And the hospitals in the States, the cupboards were bare too. Nobody was prepared for a thing like this. They could have been, they should have been. But now all over the world we're sending them, and I think it's just a tremendous story. I really do. It's a story that that's untold. You'll probably never hear about it again. And as soon as we started making all of these thousands of ventilators, you haven't heard the word ventilator? Just like, and there's one other quick story, the wall, the wall, the wall, that's all you heard. Trump promised the wall. Will he ever give the wall, the wall, the wall? And then now the wall is going to be completed very quickly. We have over 400 miles of wall built. And now you never hear the word wall. They never say, oh, he got the wall, he did it. And we built it exactly to the specifications of the Border Patrol. And they were tough specs, I will tell you. I said, how about concrete plank? No, sir, we need steel, we need rebar, and we also need concrete. Oh, that's great. But we got it built, and they have to have vision. They have to have slats because they have to be able to see through what's on the other side. You can't have, and you know, once you just realize this, I mean, they're right. So we built it to those specs. Very, very, I've done an incredible job. We're doing 10 miles a week. We'll be finished very soon. But you never hear about the wall anymore, you know? Now, if it was a failure, if we couldn't get it done, it would be brutal. It would be a brutal time for you, President. Because of our relentless efforts, the recovery rate right now on COVID or the China virus or the China plague is 99.7%. Take the rate. 99.7%. And I'm here. I'm here. And these two great people whose property we're using today, it's what a historic property. And all I know is they said, we just drove up the road, they've been here a long time. But not as long as George Washington, right? But they've been here a long time, and they said, and you probably, many of you said, do you see the crowds along, it looks like Broadway, except it's slightly more picturesque. Slightly more picturesque. But it's thousands and thousands of people lined all the way down to the highways. It's incredible. And they're all waving flags. Most importantly, they're all waving flags and they're proud of our nation. And I guess it has something to do with Pennsylvania. I'm going to be here all day today. But no, it's a beautiful sight, and they were very proud. And thank you very much for everything you've done. We're allowing younger, healthier Americans to resume normal activities while strongly protecting the elderly and those at high risk. And we're making the powerful antibody treatment that I received available to anybody that needs it free. Free. Wasn't their fault. But I had that, and I didn't feel good. I said, what's going on? And test positive. And I couldn't, I'm the president of the United States. I couldn't bury myself in a basement of the White House, as nice as it is. I actually got to see it one time. It's very nice. Like you would expect. It's a beautiful basement. It's in the White House. Very solid basement. But I couldn't do that, and I couldn't put myself in a beautiful room upstairs, beautiful bedroom, and stay there for a year and a half. I'm the president. And I'd go to meetings, I'd say, that's a lot of people. And then one day that happens. And I said, I wasn't feeling good. And what the doctor came in, and great doctors, great White House doctors, Sean, and they came in, they said, sir, you've tested positive. I said, tested positive for what? And they said, for COVID, for COVID. He actually used the term COVID. He's more politically correct than I am. He said, that's not good. But I didn't feel good, and we went over to Walter Reed Medical Center, which is phenomenal. I see the work they do in young men coming back so bad, and women so badly wounded. I see what they can do, and nobody can do what they can do. And Johns Hopkins was great. We had a lot of doctors gathered around, but I didn't feel good. And they gave me something, Regeneron, and Eli Lilly makes a very similar kind of a thing. The concept is based on antibodies. And I woke up the next morning and I felt so great. I wanted to rip that Superman shirt open. I wanted to come back. I wanted to start doing a new trade deal and campaigning simultaneously. They said, He said, sir, how about taking it easy for a couple of days? But no, it's incredible. What we've been able to do is, and I don't even know, maybe, now I'm saying, well, probably wasn't the drug. It's just that I'm in such perfect physical condition. And I'm very young. If you're young. So I said that, and CNN got very upset right there. Their camera just went off. They're like, they got upset. They said, he is not young and he is not in perfect shape. I said, I'm a great physical specimen. They didn't like it when I said that. They don't like those kind of things. No, but I don't know. Maybe I helped. I don't know. But I can tell you, it's incredible what they've been able to do. And I think it did help a lot, frankly, because I got out of there fast. I could have gone out a lot sooner, too. I wanted to go out almost immediately. They said, nice and easy, please, sir. But it shows you, maybe I serve as an example. First Lady got it also, and she's better. She's perfect. And Barron Trump, right? Barron got it. My young boy, he's 14 years old, and my young tall boy, I say, very tall. He's a good guy, good-looking guy and strong, so he has it. They say, sir, Barron tested positive also. I said, wow. Then I go, this was at the beginning, I say to the doctor about 12 minutes later, doctor, how's Barron doing? Oh, he's okay, sir, he sloughed it off. I said, you know why? They're young and the immune system works. That's why I say, get back to school. Get back to school. Get back to school. Open up this state, Governor. Open up this state. And don't take advantage of those ballots, Governor. Don't do it. Don't do it. We will terminate the virus with science, medicine, and groundbreaking therapies and cures. I watched Joe Biden speak yesterday. All he does is talk about COVID. He's got nothing else to say. COVID. We agree. We agree. It's serious. So we've done an incredible job. And at some point, they're going to recognize that. At some point, I said, we've done an A+ job. But I give ourselves a D or maybe an F in terms of public relations. But now I'll start talking about it a little bit. When Joe Biden was vice president, his failed approach on the swine flu was, as I said, a total disaster. And his chief of staff said that he had no idea what he was doing. I don't know why this guy said this. And now they're thinking about bringing him into the administration. I guess probably this was maybe before the flu came along or something, because I'm saying, why would he say this? He goes, quote, we did every possible thing wrong. And 60 million Americans got H1N1, far less lethal, by the way, far less lethal. And in that period of time, and it's just purely fortuitous that this isn't one of the great mass casualty events in American history. This is Biden's chief of staff. Think of what he said. Where did this guy come? You're going to bring him back? It had nothing to do with anything we did. We didn't do anything right. Now think of this. And then he's saying, we want to take over what you're doing, right? He says, we want to take over. Remember he said when he first started running that I did a poor job because I didn't act fast enough. I acted in January. We had almost no deaths. Now think of this. And I said, China is heavily infected. They can't come in. And I went up against Dr. Fauci and others that said, no, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do it. I said, listen, they're infected, heavily infected. Let's close off China. So I did that. I closed off Europe. I did that. Saved, and Fauci would tell you, saved tens of thousands of lives, much more than that. And then when you think, okay, I mean, we saved thousands and thousands of lives. And then Biden is campaigning. And he was 2.5 months later, he said, we have to get tough. And he called me xenophobic because I closed. 2.5 months later, then he runs, and he said, he should have closed the country earlier. I said, I don't think he's going to get away with that. And let's see what happens on November 3rd, because if something happens that's wrong, where he did, then he did get away with that. Now, here's a guy, not the smartest guy out there, and he never was, but now in particular, he's not doing too well. But here's somebody that says that I didn't act early enough, and for 2.5 months, he was scolding everybody, saying that they shouldn't have closed off China, they shouldn't have done, and that nothing bad is going to happen. But remember the statement from that was his chief of staff made that statement. We mourn for every life lost to the China virus, and in their memory and their sacred memory, we truly do. We weep, we mourn. It should have never happened. We will defeat the virus and emerge stronger and more unified than ever before. That's all we can say. We're going to be more unified than ever before. Our economy is now surging back faster, better, bigger, and stronger than any nation on earth. We just had the best quarter of economic growth ever recorded. Ever recorded by more than double. A 33.1% increase, more than our great number from 1952. That was the number we bet, but more than double. And you know what? The press is refusing to talk about it. It's not even a major story. It was, one of the analysts said today, it was the greatest economic number that they have ever seen. Okay, GDP up 33.1%. That means it grew 33 in a quarter. And the press barely mentions it, not even on the front page of newspapers, because that's the game they play at suppression. That's why we have to win. We can't let them do this. We have to win. This was according to a certain very important person, and Larry Kudlow, who's a terrific guy, and other people. Sir, this is the greatest financial number probably ever recorded in our country. Think of that. That's a big statement. And double, more than double, a number from 1952. And it's barely covered. And that's only for one reason, because they want us to do very poorly on November 3rd. They don't want to tell the American public about this. The one advantage I do have is I do have a way of getting the word out, but it's very tough when they pick it up. Even this, they won't pick this up. I made a statement, strong statement. They won't pick it up because it's good news. They'll fabricate stories. They'll make up false stories. They'll put you at number one on Twitter all the time, 20 stories that aren't trending. These stories are so boring. They'll make up, the Times will write false stories all the time, and they'll put them, and yet they won't talk about the Biden corruption. They won't talk about where's Hunter, and they won't talk about, don't feel bad, the cameras are all off, don't worry, we just lost the last camera, I'm sorry. But they won't talk about the fact that Hunter got $183,000 a month to sit on a board of Burisma and got $3 million, perhaps $3 million up front. They won't, who had no job, who had no experience in energy. They won't talk about the fact that the wife of the mayor of Moscow gave him $3.5 million, right? For what? They won't talk about the fact that the father went to China in Air Force Two. Where's Hunter was with him. I put his first name, his real first name is Ware. We're going to make it Ware. Where's Hunter was with him. And in 10 minutes, he walked out with $1.5 billion to manage, which is millions of dollars in fees, millions and millions. And they won't talk about the fact that he was going for the big one next with China. He asked for $10 million a year for introductory purpose. In other words, he was going to introduce people. $10 million a year. This is a payoff, that's all it is. And they won't talk about the fact that the father was the big guy. To me, he's not a big guy. He's not a big guy. Little guy. He's very slight. Remember when he said a year ago, he said, I'd like to take him to the back of the barn? That's okay. I went like this. I'll take him to the back of the barn. The glasses. Next year will be the greatest economic year in the history of our country if we don't raise taxes. If Joe Biden is elected, he will delay the vaccine, prolong the pandemic, close down schools, and impose a nationwide lockdown. That's what they're talking. Can you imagine going? And we're making the greatest comeback of any country by far, and they're actually talking, he's talking about a lockdown. He has no clue, but he's talking about it. That's his only plan, to make you a prisoner in your home, a prisoner in your own country, and under the Biden lockdown, the recovery will be totally killed. The economy will crash. Country can't afford it. The people can't afford it, but country can. Can you imagine? I mean, your state has to open up too. All Democrat governors, you, Michigan, North Carolina, I mean, they're all Democrat governors, and they're probably doing it because they want to affect the election. You know, they're probably doing it by November 4th, they'll announce, we've decided to open up Pennsylvania. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania will be opened on November 4th, you know? No, because it can't be. They can't be so stupid, what they're doing to people. And the countless people that will die from depression and drug overdoses and suicide and abuse and really a deferral of medical care. There'll be no school. There'll be no graduations. There'll be no weddings, no Thanksgivings, no Christmas, no Easters, no 4th of Julys. There'll be nothing. Will be nothing. And you know, one thing we've learned very recently, everyone likes the computers and the laptop and, oh, we can learn from the computer, you don't have to go. Well, now we've given it the all-time mass test, right? A child being in a classroom, or if you're older, a campus, even a college campus, but a child being in a classroom cannot be replaced by a computer. It can't. It doesn't work. It's no good. And they're losing, you know, potentially years out of their life, and it's the important years, it's the development years, but the computers don't work. They're okay, but they're a small percentage, and that's come out loud and clear. Telehealth, great, it's been incredible. I think it's a 7,000 increase percent, and telehealth has been really great. It's going to have a great future, but not education. They have to be in their classroom with other students, and they have to find their way in life. And no future, this is no future for what they're doing in Pennsylvania, what they're doing in other states. This is no future for American youth. It's going to have a long-term impact on them. Biden's plan will destroy America. My plan will destroy the virus and make America greater than it's ever been. And the skyrocketing cases in Europe have shown draconian lockdowns, and that's what they are. They're draconian. Do not stop the virus. They've done it. Italy was so locked down. Now it's starting all over again. They just don't. It's a terrible thing that was unleashed on us, and we should never forget what happened. We should never, ever forget that China could have stopped it. They stopped it from going into the rest of China, but not from going to Europe, the United States, and the rest of the world. We can never forget it. But the far left is determined to lock down America because what they crave more than anything else is power and control over you. Joe Biden has made a corrupt bargain in exchange for his party's nomination. He has surrendered his party to the radical socialists, left-wing extremists, anarchists, looters. Today's left tolerates no challenge and allows no dissent. You see that. They have it locked. They have it locked down. That's the ultimate lockdown. You can do horrible things, or you can do nothing wrong, and they'll put in phony stories. I'm actually a victim of the opposite. I'm just thinking about while I'm talking to you. They do phony stories that are totally false, and they'll put them up, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do except explain it away. If you disagree with them, they try to humiliate you, smear you, and cancel you. Cancel culture, right? They control Joe Biden, and he's so easy to control. Just like they control every Democrat House member and every senator. They purge newsrooms of reporters who do not swear allegiance to their false narratives. You've seen some reporters are extremely upset. They end up getting absolutely decimated. They censor stories that reveal the corruption of their chosen candidate. This is what's happened now, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. Everybody knows that it's incredible. Nobody's seen anything like it. You don't read anything. You go to the Times, there's no story in it. You go to the Washington Post, you go to ABC, you go to NBC, the worst of all, in my opinion, NBC. The home of The Apprentice made them a lot of money over the years, right? But they were bad. They were very bad. CBS has been terrible. CNN is just absolutely ridiculous. Thank goodness they have lousy ratings. Thank goodness. And MS, I call it MSDNC. How about MS? No, what they do is just absolutely, it's not even thinkable. It's not even to be believed. They totally close it down. And you can't have scandal when nobody's reporting about it. And the level of power is pretty incredible. And I heard this 4 years ago. Sir, you cannot compete with big tech. You cannot compete. The networks were against us, the same group. And then I won. I said, see, they're not very powerful, but you know what? They are. And now they're at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Nobody, and they're blatant about it. Now they just say, we're doing it. We don't. New York Times, they apologized to their subscribers because they were losing tens of thousands of after the last election, tens of thousands of subscribers. And they wrote a letter of apology. I couldn't believe it. And they really got good for about 2 weeks. And then they got worse than ever. I mean, it's every day a phony story after story after story. They have a story about taxes. I don't pay taxes. And I just call my people, what do they pay? Oh, no, you paid many, many millions of taxes, sir. But you prepay your taxes. Oh, well, why aren't they mentioning? I prepaid millions and millions of dollars of tax. I prepaid. That's worse than paying taxes. I'm prepaying. I say, why do we prepay so much? Because these are estimates. When you're negotiating taxes, these are estimates. You're prepaying estimates. How much? Many millions of dollars, millions and millions. But they don't do that. We call them, we tell them, and they say, well, that's prepaid. Well, prepaid is worse than, right? I mean, how good is that? We're prepaying. But they don't put that in the story. These are very corrupt, very dishonest people. They tell you that rioters are peaceful protesters because you're not allowed to have. I had it yesterday in Minnesota where we're going to have over 25,000 people. And the governor of Minnesota, radical left Democrat, and the attorney general, they said, no, the most you can have is 250 people. To my people, they said that. And so my people said, so we're going to close it down. We had thousands of people. I don't know, you probably all saw it last night. Tens of thousands. We're going to have 25, 30,000 people. And don't forget, they've done a terrible job in Minnesota where they let Minneapolis burn down. And they could have called us a lot sooner. We went in, took us about, 25 minutes to solve the problem. No, we could have gone in there. We were willing. We called them. We were willing to go there immediately instead of having everybody running away. And they have a very good police, or they had a very good police force, but they don't let them do what they have to do. And they shut it down. They said, no, you can't have 25,000, but you can have 250 people. And I said to my people, no, let's go. Let's speak in front of the 250 million. What I didn't know is that thousands of people were going anyway. They just went. They just went. And I think that had I done a regular rally because we're getting 25, 30,000 people, we're getting much more than that at some. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. Laura Ingraham had a show last night. She said, I've worked for everybody. I've worked for Reagan, and nobody's ever seen anything like what's happening. It's a great thing. It's an incredible thing. This is supposed to be a little special speech, but you've never seen anything like it. Nobody's ever seen it. And what happened is, I think because of what they did when they said, we're going to silence his voice, it turned out to be a much bigger voice. And I think we now are going to, 1972, Minnesota hasn't been won. Between Ilhan Omar, who, as you know, comes from Minnesota, I think Omar, a couple of other things, the riots, but I think what happened is they made this into a massive event, and people are tired of it. And I think we will win Minnesota. We were very close last time. And we should win it when they let Minneapolis burn. We should win it, but I think we're going to win it. And again, 1972 was the last time. Can you believe that? I think we're going to do it. We'll find out. You're going to know in about, well, I hope based on the Supreme Court, they don't delay it too long. This decision yesterday, I will tell you, was not a good decision. But you're allowed to wait days to count and days to have the final count. You're allowed to have time limits beyond November 3rd. So what does this mean? The whole world and our nation is going to be waiting and waiting and waiting to hear who won? No, you're going to be waiting. You're going to be waiting for weeks. And a very dangerous thing happens November 3rd, and now you have to wait and wait. And very bad things can happen with ballots during that period of November 3rd to whatever date they gave them, many, many days. So you're going to be watching on November 3rd. I think it's highly likely you're not going to have a decision because Pennsylvania is very big. And as you know, there was another state, but perhaps other states involved. This is a terrible thing that they've done to our country. And that's the United States Supreme Court I'm talking about. That is a terrible, political, horrible decision that they made. We're going to be waiting. November 3rd is going to come and go, and we're not going to know. And you're going to have bedlam in our country. And you're going to have this period of 9 days or 7 days or whatever it is. And many bad things. Ballots are going to be, we just found 10,000 ballots. Oh, that's good. We just found another 10,000. This is a horrible thing that the United States Supreme Court has done to our country. And I say it, and I say it loud, and I say it proud. We have to know who won. We have to know who won. They tell you the police officers are villains. This is the group. And they're heroes. No. They even tell you that your children must be indoctrinated to believe that the heroes who crossed the Delaware were driven by hatred and malice. They change your history. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote to give this radical movement absolute power and unchecked control over every aspect of American life. Joe Biden, he's not all there. You should get a little bit larger frame, don't you? No, I know those glasses. You got to get a little. I'll tell him. He doesn't want to have people look at that surgery on the eyes. It didn't work out. Joe Biden and the socialist left are absolutely convinced of their own moral superiority. I don't know if he is but they are. They are. He isn't. Look, let's face it. He's shot. Same time. Who said that? That was exact timing, right? You copied me from another space. While their agenda devastates the poor and the American middle class will be devastated. They support crippling shutdowns that crush the blue-collar jobs while they stay home and work. They close down your schools, your children, while they hire private tutors for their children. They ban you from going to church while they let left-wing extremists burn down your church. You can only meet if it's a protest. So you know what we do? Like even in this state, I call this a protest. Otherwise, they don't let you meet. You can't go to church, right? You can't go to church. What they're doing to our churches and our synagogues and all of that is just terrible. You see what's going on. Even when the church wants to go into a field and stay apart, they say, no, you can't do that. It's like a terrible thing. They lecture you on the need for open borders that flood your cities with illegal drugs and gangs while they themselves live in walled-off compounds. They want to defund your police and confiscate your guns simultaneously while they themselves are protected with armed guards. No, we will protect your Second Amendment 100%. There is only one way to preserve, protect, and defend the American way of life. You must show up on November 3rd, okay? Don't worry about the first for a second, because I know you too well. The Biden-Harris economic policies of increasing taxes and regulations, biggest tax increase in the history of our country is what they're proposing, would pulverize our middle class. Their plan is projected to hammer the typical American family's income by over $6,500 a year in the Wall Street Journal. By contrast, I cut taxes and regulations at a level nobody's ever done before and raise middle-class families' incomes over $6,000 in just 3 short years. And that's not including energy, which is a tremendous, what we've done with energy is tremendous. Joe Biden has pledged a $4 trillion tax hike, socialized medicine, an avalanche of job-killing regulations, a return to globalist trade deals, and he vowed the total destruction of the Pennsylvania oil industry and fracking. Fracking is gone. Fracking is gone. And he said that loud and clear for a year until he realized that he has to win in Pennsylvania. But fracking is dead because their side, it's dead. You saw AOC go out and say, no, you can't say that when Biden switched. And he never had one question from the press. How could you say it for a year and then all of a sudden switch when you walk into Pennsylvania? Now, fracking would be dead. Joe Biden's plan to abolish American energy is an economic death sentence for Pennsylvania. A vote for Biden is a vote to ban fracking and to send your state into a nightmare of poverty and depression. That's what's going to happen. It's your single biggest industry by far, probably 1 million jobs one way or the other. And what it would do to our country, because our country has low energy costs. You and Texas and others. Think of Texas. He's running in Texas. We're doing very well in Texas, but if you believe the fake news, they'll tell you, oh, it's very close. It's not close at all. And it wasn't close 4 years ago. Think of Texas. It's very close. He's against oil. He's against guns, and he's against religion. And then they say, Texas is very close. Think of that, right? He's against oil, guns, and God. Texas is very close. Too close to call. I don't think so. I think Texas is going to be very strong for us. Can you imagine going into Texas, say, we're going to take your guns away, and by the way, we're going to close up every oil well that you have? Well, vote for me, vote for Joe. I don't think so. If Biden wins, there will be no fracking, no oil, no natural gas, no jobs, and no future. Under Biden, gas prices will explode, family incomes will plummet, and the fracking industry will be outlawed forever. Forever. With your vote, I will cut middle-class taxes even more. I mean, we cut them at the highest level in the history of our country, even more. And you saw what it did. That's why we're coming back so quick, because we have a strong foundation, a base. And I will always defend and promote Pennsylvania energy, and there will be no more lockdowns. We're not going to have lockdowns. We will never lock down again. Joe Biden would appoint the most radical left-wing cabinet in history. Beto O'Rourke will be in charge of gun confiscation. Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren will be in charge of the United States Treasury, according to what they say. AOC +3 will run the climate policy. I wonder if she ever even took a course in climate. I don't think so. Because it's the... I didn't say it, you did. This can only happen in Pennsylvania. Don't forget, I went to school here. You know, he likes to throw around the Pennsylvania thing. Look at it differently. He abandoned Pennsylvania. He went to Delaware, but I'm not blaming him. He was 9 years old or something, so we can't blame him for that, right? But he left Pennsylvania. Now, I went to school in Pennsylvania, as you know. Representative Ilhan Omar will be running Homeland Security. How do you like that? Who knows? I just said that one, but you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. Ladies and gentlemen, we're pleased to announce Ilhan Omar to run national security. She's going to be guarding our border. Well, we just had the best numbers we've ever had, by the way. People can come into our country. We want them to come in. They have to come in legally, and they have to come in through merit. Just imagine the insanity that will ensue if Pelosi is Speaker, Schumer is crying Chuck, Majority Leader, Kamala Harris. She makes Bernie Sanders look like a very strict conservative. You have Kamala, got to say the name exactly right or they excoriate you. So you have Kamala running the White House. Well, she already said that, right? She said that it's the Harris-Biden administration. He actually said, that was scary. He said, under the Harris, I never did that. I never said under the Pence-Trump administration. And I love Mike Pence. You know what? But I said, Mike, that far we can't go. I never said. But he said it, he made a mistake. He also said he's running for the U.S. Senate 2 or 3 times. He said, I'm a proud Democrat. This is like 3 or 4 times. I'm a proud Democrat running for the U.S. Senate. I want you to. And we said, no, Joe, you're running for president. Oh, okay. Is this whole thing, can you believe that this could only happen to me? And how are you doing? We're tied. We're tied. How the hell? How can I be tied? We're tied. He said 4 times. The other thing he does badly. Haven't done it yet. I hope I never do. But he'll be making a speech in Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen of Iowa, it's proud to be. The worst is when he's making one in Miami with the palm trees. The beautiful palm trees. Ladies and gentlemen of Ohio. No, he's made that many times. And you know what I always say? Winston Churchill was a great, great orator, right? Amazing orator. Amazingly, because he was a stutterer in his life. He was a stutterer in his life. Became a great orator. You could give a speech equal to the best that he's ever made. And if you made the mistake in saying, welcome, like we're in Pennsylvania, it's great to be in New York. It doesn't matter how good your speech is. It's over. Just walk off. It's over. But he does it all the time, and nobody even says it. No, he is shot. Under my leadership, we achieved, and he's not a nice person. You know what? If he were a nice person, they do commercials on me that are so false, like with the soldiers. That's the biggest insult to me of anything that's probably ever happened, like with the soldiers and other things. They're so false, based on a phony magazine, an Obama-type magazine that's doing badly. They did a commercial, and we notified them, and we had 26 witnesses, real witnesses, and every one of them is furious. But he's not a nice person. So because he's not a nice person, I don't mind saying exactly what I'm saying, which, as you know, is the truth. He was never considered smart in his prime. But now he's really off. And you can't have him as your president because he'll destroy our country. He'll destroy our country. And it probably won't be him because by the time he gets sworn in, he'll be pretty much like it'll be over. 25th Amendment, you think they were talking about me? No, they weren't talking about me. When she brought that up, they're talking about how to get Kamala in there as fast as possible. And nobody treated him worse than her. If you looked at the debate, now Kamala was failing fast. She was going down like a rock. Normally you pick somebody that's going up, not one that... She didn't even make it to Iowa, right? But nobody spoke worse about him, and that's the one that they pick. But they want to get the radical left. They'd love to get her in, and that will be a very... I don't know if you can ever come back from a thing like that. I'm not sure that a country, you look at Venezuela, you look at what's going on, where it was the richest, it was so great 20 years ago, and now they don't have food, they don't have water, they don't have medicine. Under my leadership, we achieved the most secure border in American history, the wall. Biden's plan to admit unlimited low-wage foreign workers will slash incomes, surge unemployment, and devastate the middle class, all to enrich the globalist donors. As president, my only special interest is you. That is true. My only special interest. To protect our national security, I also suspended the entry of refugees from foreign nations compromised by terrorism. Just call up President Macron, as I do often, and ask him what's happening over there. You saw those horrible attacks this last week, more than one. We're keeping radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country, if I have your approval. Biden has pledged a staggering 700% increase in refugees. This is a deal made between Biden and Bernie Sanders, Crazy Bernie. The manifesto, we call it. This is a document, a very thick document, naming things that they're all horrible. But they've agreed 700% increase in refugees from the most dangerous and violent terrorist hotspots anywhere on earth, including Syria, Somalia, and Yemen. These are some of the most dangerous places in the world. 700% increase. This is agreed to. This isn't like, oh, this is talk. This is a manifesto. It's a document. He's also vowed to terminate our national security travel bans, allowing for unlimited migration from war zones and terrorist havens. Biden's extreme migration policies will open the floodgates to terrorists, jihadists, and violent extremists. You don't have to worry about it. Just get out and vote on November 3rd. Under my administration, I had the ban passed, right? And it was approved by the United States Supreme Court. There, they did the right thing. Under my administration, the safest of our families will always come first. That's safety. We want safety. Has to come first. The Secretary of Defense under President Obama, Robert Gates, said that Joe Biden has been on the wrong side of every foreign policy issue in his lifetime. President Obama used to say that if you wanted something really screwed up, give it to Joe Biden to handle. This is the guy that we have running. In fact, Obama tried to keep Joe from running. He was very famously quoted as saying, Joe, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this, Joe. Don't do it. You don't have to do this. I could see that. And then wouldn't endorse him until long after the primaries had ended. And Joe is lost. Think of it. He wouldn't endorse him. He was a vice president, wouldn't endorse him, made all these terrible statements, wouldn't endorse him. And then even after he won, it was months before he endorsed him because he didn't want to see it happen. I think he's probably the most surprised person on earth, Obama. And they said, sir, Obama's going to start campaigning for him a couple of days ago. I said, that's okay, that's good. He campaigned for Hillary. How did that work out? And his crowds are extraordinarily small, just so you understand. They're not big. They're like 22 people, 18 people. For months, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have been inciting violence against police officers and riots like those carried out by Biden supporters in Philadelphia. Look at what's going on in Philadelphia. They should call us into Philadelphia. We'll solve the problem. Or let their police handle the problem. Let their police handle the problem. If elected, the Democrat ticket will pass legislation to end cash bail, create sanctuary cities nationwide, and to fund police departments all across America. In a second term, we will increase funding for law enforcement. We will hire more tough-on-crime prosecutors to put violent offenders behind bars. For 47 years, Joe Biden betrayed African Americans at every turn. He took your votes, he took you for granted, and then he shipped away your jobs and flooded your cities with cheap foreign labor. He devastated black families with his 1994 crime bill that really locked up tens of thousands of African American men with unfair sentencing, and he called African American young men super predators all the time. He would say super predators, a name that has always been something. There has been no name that they've hated more. They hated it with Hillary Clinton and they hate it with Joe Biden. Super predator, the term super predator, that was his term. He forged close relationships with pro-segregation lawmakers, and his trade deals decimated the black middle class. Joe Biden cares more about refugees living thousands of miles away than he does about black Americans living in Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Detroit, Baltimore, Oakland, He's done nothing. And then he says to me, oh, we should do this. I said, Joe, again, always, it's so easy. 47 years, but he left. It was only 3.5 years ago. So this wasn't a long time ago. I reversed the injustice of Biden's crime bill by signing landmark criminal justice reform, prison reform. And under our recently announced Platinum Plan, we will create 3 million new jobs for Black Americans, increase access to capital, restore safety to every neighborhood, and we will deliver school choice to every parent in America. School choice. And I'm also fighting every day for Hispanic Americans. This week I announced our American Dream Plan, and we're doing very well with Hispanic Americans. You see that? They're saying, what's going on in Florida, right? They like me and I like them. And we're doing very well with the Black community. They like me now. They're getting to know me better, but I've always liked them. The American Dream Plan, which creates over 500,000 new Hispanic-owned small businesses and jobs, and going to be fantastic for our Hispanic Americans, great people. My administration is also standing proudly with the people of Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela in their righteous fight for freedom. Biden sided with the brutal socialist and communist regimes. You saw what he did. You saw that horrible deal that was made with the United States by Obama and Biden. I don't think Biden probably was too involved. You want to know the truth. Keep him out. But it was a terrible deal. It was like the Iran deal. Here's $150 billion for nothing. As long as I'm president, America will never be a socialist country. Will never be. This year, I've laid out the boldest and most ambitious second-term agenda in history. We will create 10 million new jobs in the first 10 months. 2021, we will have 10 million jobs. Over the next 4 years, we will make America into the manufacturing superpower of the world. We will expand opportunity zones. We will bring home our medical supply chains. They're all coming home. And we will end our reliance on China once and for all. We will defend religious liberty, the right to life, and the right to keep and bear arms. And we will restore patriotic education to our schools. In our debate last week, Joe Biden said that America has, quote, never ever lived up to our founding ideals, right? And he said it was an idea, it was just an idea that America's a great country. The United States is a great country. It's not an idea, it's a great country. Pennsylvanians know the truth more than most when you think of the great history of this state. From Washington's Crossing and Independence Hall in Philadelphia, to the Quakers who ran the Underground Railroad, from the Union soldiers who lay at the rest, and you lay at rest. They lay at rest in Gettysburg. What a place, Gettysburg, one of the most beautiful places, and so gruesome for a period of time. Never fight uphill, my boys, right? He said, never fight uphill, me boys, never fight uphill. They fought uphill. To the workers of Bethlehem and Allentown who forged the steel that won World War II, America is the story of everyday citizens who have given everything to help this country live up to the highest ideals. My fellow citizens, you deserve a president who believes in America, a president who loves our country, and a president who loves you. Everybody knows that Joe Biden is not equipped to lead America. To Republicans, Democrats, and independents across this state, across this nation, I am asking for you to honor me with a vote that's going to make our nation greater than ever before. I will continue to fight for you with every breath in my body. And with your support on Tuesday, we will show the world that for our country and for our children and for the incredible people of Pennsylvania, the best is indeed yet to come. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, President Trump wrapping up there, his first stop of 4 today in Pennsylvania. We're headed now, after a few closing remarks at the scene there in Bucks County, over to Reading, PA, where our crew is standing by there. I hope you enjoyed. We have, about 15 or so in the next few days. I hope you enjoy, and we're going to send you back now to Bucks County for some closing remarks, and we'll see you over and at the rally in so many of them I can't even keep track. Reading.
Wonderful event here in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. You see the president there leaving the stage, headed off to 2 more rallies in the state of Pennsylvania, talking about why the people of Pennsylvania should choose him come November 3rd and re-elect him President of the United States. President Trump delivering a strong message today, on point and on prompter, for what 4 more years of a Trump administration would look like. And he is continuing to do so today and tomorrow and the day after. 14 rallies in the next 2 days is going to be huge. Don't forget about our partner, Dismay Coin Company. Dismay Coins is the epitome of made in America, as we have said before. USA machines, USA workers. Coins made with genuine silver and copper. Coins are valuable and are unique and worthwhile purchase, which always makes the perfect present. Comes in 20 plus patriotic designs, and 2 new designs are added every month up until the election, and we will be collecting them along with every month leading up to the election, the new coins that come out. They also make great gifts for any MAGA fan in your family. Dismay Coins is giving 10% of the profits back to conservative organizations and groups. Go to www.dismaycoins.com to check out the inventory and start your own collection of Trump coins today. Use code RSBN at checkout for a discount. While you're there, don't forget to join the giveaway. It's so easy to do. It's on the giveaway tab on the left side of the screen. The more people that enter, the more people that win. And just remember, that's www.dismaycoins.com. Grace, what do you think about the event? Go ahead and wrap it up for us.
Yes, that was the rally of the day in Pennsylvania.